6 years have passed since the victory over Kagaya. Sasuke and I were called the heroes of the 5 nations, and Team 7 were called the new Sannin. Kakashi-sensei became the 6th Hokage. There is no longer any hostility between the Kakurazato, but not everything is as rosy as it seems. Victory was hard won. The number of deaths exceeded all the losses of previous wars. Of all the teams, only ours remained intact. The following died a heroic death: Kiba and Akamaru, Choji, Shikamaru, Sai, Neji, Tenten, Lee, Hinata and many others. If only I had been stronger, if not for the Black Zetsu, if not for... Okay, Snot, stop whining, I already have a flood here, and now you're going to start whining. Yeah, right, I'll show you where Shukaku spends the winter. But, Kurama, they are my friends. I can't just forget about them. And I'm not telling you to forget, just live in the present, and not in the past, like your sensei once did. I guess you're right, Ku. While I was having this mental conversation, I didn't notice how I reached the residence. I had been appointed captain of Anbu for 5 years already, but I carried out solo missions regularly. Nothing complicated, it's just that after the war, a lot of new Kennen appeared, renegades successfully escaped from prisons. No one was really interested in bandits, so they took advantage of the situation. Since cool shinobi don't use the door, and they're too lazy to use the window, I moved with Horaishin. I'm far from Shunshin no Shisui, so we'll settle for the Nadaime Hokage's technique. Fortunately, I had the mark. Hokage-sama, the mission is accomplished. Rokudaime's eyes widened slightly, that meant he hadn't even sensed me. I'm making progress. He automatically took the detailed report from his hands. After a quick glance, the Hokage gave me a glance. Ah, Tiger, welcome back. Everything as usual. Hitaki put the papers aside and took a sip of coffee, thoughtfully handed to him by Shizune. Hi, Hokage-sama, after all this tinsel with Kagaya and company, I never failed a single mission. I became known as the best Anbu captain in the history of Konoha. Honorable, right, and I also turned out to be a great actor. On some missions I had to lie, a lot. I didn't lose my cheerful, relatively character, although I became an order of magnitude smarter and more collected. You've worked hard, maybe you should go on vacation. Vacation? Me? Yoo-hoo, let's party. Well, okay, so be it. You have to know when to stop. Both work and rest. Hi, Hokage-sama, I bowed, straightened up and went out the window. Well, why not? It's faster this way. My house is on this side, so everything is great. There was no need to clean the apartment where I sleep and live, so I went to bed with a clear conscience. But I was not allowed to forget peacefully. Okay, Flea, wake up quickly. Kurama's loud roar burst out in my head. Opening my eyes, I saw nothing. Well, really, only, my fur coat is flying in zero gravity, and old man Rakudo somehow ended up here. Only, where is this? Here. Stop, Rakudo. Rakudo Sennin, what are you doing here? And where am I? It was clearly hard to wrap my head around the idea that Hagoromo's Biju had come to visit me. Just don't tell me that a new adventure awaits me in which I'll be some kind of savior again. Come up with something new. You're right, Naruto Uzumaki, I'm here for a reason. I'm anticipating your question. Don't look at me like that. I can't read minds, it's all written on your face. But let's get straight to the point. In one of the parallel worlds, Ashura's reincarnation failed to fulfill her mission, and the Council of Gods decided that you should help little Uzumaki Naruto fulfill her duty of reincarnation. In your world, time has stopped, but after this small service, you will be able to return home, here. Kurama will be with you. Good luck, my son. Before I could come to my senses, Ku and I began to be absorbed into some kind of funnel. And then, emptiness. The body seemed to be covered with cracks, from which not blood but hot lava was flowing, acid was smoothly flowing inside the veins, corroding from the inside. Everything was mixed up in this nasty mass. The once sweet face of the little girl became like the dry earth of the desert, with the difference of flowing red liquid. The hair, divided into 9 parts, merged with the blood, and the baby lay as if in a fiery abyss. Blue eyes were filled with pain and stood out brightly. Golden chains flew out from behind her back. Not as big as the girl's mother's, but very convenient. They were the ones to blame for what happened. You can't awaken clan technology at such an early age. It's tantamount to suicide. The girl was purely free, but even that might not be enough. Yuichiro adored his little sister. Even though she was a talentless and weak girl in every sense, his heart burst at the seams when he saw this terrible mess that was mistakenly called his little sister. She was found in a terrible state on one of the abandoned training grounds. She summoned the chains. Chains at the age of 5. And, of course, she couldn't stand it. It's almost a death sentence. If you don't die, you'll obviously remain disabled for life. Yuichi knew she was dead. 100%. But the awakened Imouto during her sentence spoke of many things, but not of death. There was no question of her. My whole body ached. It was as if I was sewn together from scraps of skin with exposed wires that had been electrified. I felt terribly sick, my head and whole body felt like lead, and my chest was crushed by a huge boulder, about the size of Jubi. However, no matter how bad I felt, I immediately felt 4 chakra centers. It seemed that the girl had pretty good sensory abilities, what a pity that she died, and now I am in her place. 2 centers were vaguely familiar to me, it was not me who knew them, but the local Naruto. Well, and the third one was the doctor. A measured beeping sounded above my left ear. I was in the hospital. Hey, Ku, are you there? I was brazenly ignored, but I recognized the scorching warm chakra of Kurama anywhere. Most likely, he is trying to return my body to a relatively normal state, for which I am grateful to him. No matter how hard I tried to lie down with my eyes closed, these nasty devices burned me. Well, I'm not ready. And I'm meeting my parents. I'm not ready. They're alive here, and I've gotten used to being alone. No, Kurama is always with me, he's my best friend, but my parents. That's something else. I was ready to pray to them. I thought about what would happen if. What if this way? What if that way? But I wasn't destined to think it through. Naruto. Oh, how is this possible? I'm so glad you're alive. Don't ever do that again, Datbane. Mom suddenly hugged me. And you know, this is the best thing on this damn planet. I just can't let this Uzumaki Naruto down. And when you're an orphan, you follow the great rule, if they give you something, take it, if they beat you, run. And since I've had this chance, I'm not going to miss it. Well, hold on, Konoha. Uzumaki Naruto doesn't give up that easily, Datbei. Commentary on prologue. What help? What are you talking about? Det. Ashura. I didn't sign up for this. Here is the first chapter. Thanks for watching. P.B. Bekino, G.Y. Chapter 1. The Gap. The hospital was terribly boring. Escaping on my own 2 feet without chakra was impossible, and going through the window was too dangerous, even I realized that. The only good thing was that I figured out what gender to call myself. Now, before the rest of the Naruto here absorbs into me, I will think of myself as a guy. Almost no one comes to me anyway. And there is nothing to do. This month would have been meaningless for me if not for one small incident. I've been picking at this beach porridge for ages. Why, couldn't they have cooked something normal? No, enjoy this divine, and most importantly, healthy porridge. Jubilee take it. And no, to go to the canteen, to talk to someone, you have to hang around in a nasty ward with a white ceiling, white walls and floor. Oh, I knew I'd end up in a mental hospital, I knew it. Naruto. Descend into the subconscious quickly. It would be too much trouble to argue with Ku, so I immediately went into my inner world. Everything there was, to put it mildly, not very good. Crooked corridors, drowning in water, of which there was more here than I had at 12 in that world. Cracks, rusty pipes and some kind of fog. At least something remains unchanged. After about 30 minutes of wandering around this damn maze, I came out to Kurama's cage. Hey, Ku, are you there? It was dark in the cage, but the worst thing was that there were about 87 bookmarks, and they were all very different and clearly not useful. There was everything here. To slow down growth, mental abilities, chakra movement, destroy Kirikake and much more. It was very strange that the previous inhabitant of this body lived normally, and there were no deviations, at least obvious ones. And she awakened the chains, although she gave her life for them. Meanwhile, Ku came out into the light. All that was left of the once fiery red fur was a reminder, hanging in clumps from the skin. It was as if all the strength had been sucked out of the fox, which was visible due to the protruding bones. The tails lazily moved around the cage. As it turned out, I was a Jinchuriki in this world too, but the seal was designed for 2 parts. Dark and light. The girl could withstand a full-fledged 9-tailed fox with a huge number of bookmarks, so it was no surprise that she died. Oh, Naru, we're fucked, Kurama said categorically. Well, it can't be that bad. Or is it because of the bookmarks? I went up to Ku and sat down at his side. Partly, yes. But not only that, some faggot put such seals on you that the entire Uzumaki clan never dreamed of, the fox lamented. I hope Zetsu shows up in your garden. Damn it, what the hell? This place is worse than ours. Oh, Rakudo's idiot. Kagaya is not here for you. And what are we going to do? An exhausted sigh came out on its own, to which Kurama grinned cheerfully. As usual, you'll be tearing your guts out for some crazy thing. And then you'll be saying something about, I will never give up and leave my friends. Wow, this couldn't be more clear, I said, to which the fur coat sighed theatrically. No one appreciates young talents. I already wanted to answer that except for Orochimaru, as I was pulled out of the subconscious. It turned out to be Erjaren. The nurse who was supposed to take the porridge saw that I was not reacting to anything and got scared. As I was told later, I was in a coma for 2 years. Therefore, at the moment when the local Naruto was supposed to finally die, I appear and turn everything upside down. Well, while Kurama burns out the bookmarks, I get used to my new body. I don't know who transferred me to my room, but it doesn't matter anymore, because it's a girl's room, a girl's. But never mind, I'm strong, I can handle it. But now there won't be, Hardy. There will be, Hardy, A to Z. Phew, inhale and exhale. Pull yourself together and pull yourself together. Rag, okay, let's get back to the room. It was light colored. The bed was right under the window, which meant that you could use the windowsill as a walk-through yard. But that was probably the most remarkable thing in the room. The rest was classic furnishings. A table, a chair, a couple of cabinets and a dresser dressing table. In principle, something needs to be done with the body, but while Ku is treating me, I should at least change my clothes. So, what do we have here? A bunch of shorts, blouses, kimonos, haori and all the tinsel a girl needs. To conquer Sasuke-kun, of course. But jokes aside, it's time to get dressed. And this is serious. So how did Sakura dress? After about 40 minutes of torment, during which I managed to look through everything and try it on again, I found suitable clothes. A black t-shirt with the Uzumaki sign on the back and sleeves. Blue shorts, stockings and open shinobi sandals. I decided not to mess with my hair. I left it down, only pinned my bangs with an invisible hairpin. Isn't that what they call it? Having circled around the mirror and finally decided that I looked acceptable, I remembered already at the door. My parents are here. Mom, Dad, and, well, my brother. Oh Kami, how should I behave with them? What if the local Naruto wasn't burning with love for her family? No, how could that be? And where is she sitting at the table? Where is the dining room anyway? And do I have a... Oh, shut up already, your head is already splitting, and the memories will come slowly, even though your brain is pumped up with a huge amount of information from the clones, but there is much more here, so bury your head and let me coordinate all this shit. As soon as Ku unleashed his monologue on me, I was surprised to remember that I was a shy and timid little girl. Another S-rank mission had begun. Objective: not to reveal the alien within. Deadline: unknown. Well, this mission will be completed as well. Perfect. Commentary on Chapter 1, The Gap. Chapter 2, I'm Scared. P.B. Bekino, G.Y. Chapter 2, S-rank mission. Don't get caught. Commentary on Chapter 2, S-rank mission. Don't get caught. Thank you to everyone who left a review, added to the collection and clicked like. It means a lot to me. It is you who help me to continue writing, even if not so well yet. I am glad that there are people who really like this work. Thank you. P.B. Bekino. Anyone can stand at the door, so I forced my body out the door and rushed towards New Horizons, well, towards my family. My room is on the 2nd floor. The girl's sensory abilities tell me that there is also a basement. A warehouse, probably. The walls were beige with various patterns and if you look closely, you can see. FUNN. Really FUNN. Hashirama is my gardener, they even wove him into the wallpaper. What's next? Window frames with carvings that, when activated, create powerful protection from physical blows. That's what I call cage protection. Did Kushina really try? It's funny, though, there were photographs on the walls, apparently of our family. Only, how can I say it? 4 children. 4. I saw the eldest brother in the hospital. And the rest are a mystery to me. We will get acquainted, there is no other way. Here comes the staircase. Beautiful, wooden, only, it separates me from the dining room. From a new life. 1 step, and there is no way back. 1 more, there is no turning back. The final stop. Family. As soon as my foot stepped on the floor, the parquet creaked loudly and the people sitting at the table turned around at the same time. I can play a role, but I don't even need to pretend. The body remembers, I follow. In a word, symbiosis. I slowly hobbled to the table, wished everyone a pleasant appetite, and buried my face in a plate of curry. It was uncomfortable. My mother looked kind and worried. My elder brother was tense and worried. The other 2 were hostile. But my father's gaze deserved a special mention. Cold. Even Hyoten Haku wasn't like that. As if I were an empty space. Or a small speck of dirt on a beautiful canvas. Like trash. They were still talking about something, but I wasn't listening. I finished my meal automatically, thanked my mother for the food, washed the dishes, said goodbye and went back to the room. I came to my senses sitting on the bed. What was that? I asked myself into the void. Oh, it was me who restored your memory. Now at least you know your family and friends. Kurama was pleased with himself. That's the kind of work he did. Bookmarks. This is more important now. I won't be able to develop if my body is in this state. Now there are 64 of them. I removed the most important ones. I'll just burn the rest. As always, Ku came to the rescue. I see, thank you. Now we need to look through the memory. Let's get started. Mother. Kushina Uzumaki. Sister of the current clan head, Haim, wife of the Yondaime Hokage. Gave birth to 2 heirs. Loves me, tries to help. Considers herself a bad mother. Father. Minato Namikaze. Brother of the head of the Namikaze clan, Yondaime Hokage, husband of Uzumaki Kushina Haim. Disappointed in his daughter, that is, in me, he cooled off, and with his behavior tries to awaken passion and courage in me. Older brother. Yuichiro Namikaze. Minato's first son, Anbu captain, Leaf Junin. He dotes on his younger sister, tries to protect her, and is generally a sweetheart. 18 years old. Middle brother. Yukine Namikaze. Second son of the Yondaime, Genin of Konohagakure no Sato. Despises and mocks, but will not let anyone hurt him. 13 years old. Twin brother. Menma Uzumaki. Third son of the fourth, quarrels with his sister, but cannot live without her. 6 years old. Our last names are different because Yuchi and Yuki are blonde, only the elder has blue eyes, and the younger has violet ones. They are more of a father's clan. Menma and I are red-haired and blue-eyed. Yeah, we still have to pass the suitability test. But that's just poetry. I don't have any friends, but it's for the best. Maybe. Waking up was not easy. It was easier for the brain to perceive information during sleep. And you can't lie around for days. So now I'm suffering. Having made the bed, I headed to the closet. Having quickly chosen an orange clan combat kimono with black breeches, I headed to the bathroom. But that's another story. There are tons of little bottles and vials here. My male brain still refuses to understand why there are so many. Although, it is not necessary to understand, the main thing is to use them correctly. Oh, how? But a proven method will help me with this. I have already washed my hair with shampoo, there is conditioner left. A familiar tune sounded in my head. Hitotsu hai toyoli inamori shukaku. Futatsu fair motoru matabi. Mitsu mazunara makozuru isobu. Yatsu yokatsu is Son Goku. Itsuzu itsu demo cake ashi kokuo. Mutsumuri suzu awatezo saiken. Nanatsu nanajushi saradobu chome. Yatsu yapai yi taji gyuki. Kokan natsu ko konamto psycho karama. Along with the nostalgic song that gave me strength, I continued to look at the bottles. So, what did we get? Conditioner rinse. Does not dry out the skin, makes hair soft, silky and manageable. Just what we need. When the water procedures were finished, and the hair was combed and put in a low ponytail, I pulled on my clothes and... Wait, pulled on, I'm already talking like a girl. The fusion began. A strange feeling. Indescribable. This is probably how Orochimaru feels when he sheds his skin. You are you, only a little different. But let's skip this moment, we need to go on reconnaissance. I quickly ran out of the room, jumped through the stairs, grabbed my shoes and ran to Kushina. I pecked my mother on the cheek, said something about being there for dinner and ran away. As soon as the door slammed, I felt like I was turned inside out. I started to feel terribly sick and twisted. So much for taking a walk. Idiot. I've become a child. Ba-chan was right, a grown-up moron. The state of this body does not allow for sudden movements. This village is different from my own. There's Senju, Hitaki, and Uzumaki. That's where I'm going. The clan quarter. Well, cousins, meet your Haim. Chapter 3. A walk around the block. Go to the quarter without knowing where it is. Great. But I'm a shinobi, so we look for the red-haired top and follow her. Luckily, my clanmates stand out, otherwise it would be more difficult. It's better to search from above, but the problem is that you can't run on the roofs without some chakra control. Therefore, we turn to my fluffy reference book. Hey, Ku, how's the condition of that body? I shuddered at these words. Orochimaru is unfinished. At least I don't bite children or drag them away for experiments. Brr. There are 36 bookmarks left. The seal responsible for chakra control has deactivated without recharging. And who did you call a fluffy reference book? The youth has gone completely wild, no respect. I don't want to see you in my subconscious anymore. You've gotten completely insolent, you miserable idiot. But that was painful, the body here is not so prepared for poisonous chakra. Even though she was a Jinchuriki, she did not release Kurama from the seal. So, it was painful. But I managed to find out important information. Previously, when I passed chakra through the channels, it ran into something, but now it doesn't. Well, that's good. Now, I need to carefully dose it. I put my hand to the wall and released a certain amount of chakra, which I usually used to attach to the wall. It didn't work here, let's continue further. After 20 fucking minutes, I managed to find the right ratio of chakra. But that's only half the battle. All that's left is to release it correctly. To do this, I snuck into some back alley. I ran halfway. My foot slipped in. I was caught. Naruto Haim, are you okay? Said a voice from above. I looked up and saw not just anyone, but fucking Uchiha Itachi. Ah, thank you Itachi-san, he landed, but did not let go of me. And now, let's get out of here little by little. Just need to get out of the princess pose. If it's not a secret, what were you doing? Well, yes, a little girl who knows nothing about shinobi and just came out of a coma is trying to climb a wall. But you shouldn't play with him. I'll tell you the truth. I wanted to get to my clan's quarter, but I don't know where it is, so I decided to climb onto the roof and look from there. Make cute eyes, just to be sure. I see, I suppose you wouldn't mind if I took you there. Asked the genius Uchiha, to which he received an affirmative nod. Well, so what? You can walk on all sorts of surfaces and then learn, but I won't waste time. But who cares? After about 5 minutes we were already there. They let me off their hands and politely said goodbye, so now I can walk with a clear conscience. Upon entering the quarter, I noticed a huge barrier. My eyes dazzled from the abundance of red heads per square meter. All the houses are simply saturated with FUNN, there is not a single free spot without it. And most importantly, everyone is happy to see me. As if I mean something to them, something very important. This feeling is so strange. I feel like part of one big family, where everyone is there for each other. I have never had anything like this. So this is what shinobi fight for, so that they can come and receive support, love. So that there would be somewhere to return to. In a word, family. I wandered into some playground. Children were crowded around a swing, looking at something and shouting. Coming closer, I saw a scroll. The children were drawing on it and were so engrossed that they did not notice me. It was a drawing. At the head of it stood a shaggy girl with freckles and very thick hair. She looked not like a child, but like a fur ball. The little girl clearly enjoyed authority among the children, but there was a peculiar price for this. Kohiri Uzumaki. Put the scroll back. A thin woman with a frying pan in her hand appeared out of thin air. Everyone ran away screaming, and little Kohiri was grabbed by the collar and dragged away in an unknown direction. After some time, the children gathered back and began to whisper. What are we going to do? Ko-chan will be left under arrest again, said a tall boy with disheveled hair and gray eyes. Save, the other boy said bravely, hitting his fist against his open palm. He was the complete opposite of the first boy. All well groomed and clean, but just as brave. They even looked alike. You could say they were brothers. They probably were. Well, and how do you imagine this? You don't even have a chance, blockheads. The girl with 2 pigtails and glasses exclaimed categorically. Arrogant. Similar to the theme, and the fact that she reminded me of my eternal rival, I say as Guy, Cammy Save Me from Green Tights played an important role. If at first I didn't want to interfere, now it's a matter of principle. I'll also take a look at the quarter. Solid pluses. I'll help you. Yes, attracting attention is my strong point. Look how quickly heads turned in my direction. Haim-sama. Oh, damn, I forgot that my status doesn't allow it. Yes, I did. I decided to go for a walk, and then there was such chaos. I have a plan. Listen carefully. At the table, bowing his head and rubbing his temples, sat a man no longer young. Wrinkles barely touched his face, but it was obvious how tired he was. The younger generation was growing up, and they needed careful supervision. Their children had always been wild and active, but he hadn't expected that Haim-chan would join these little devils. This seemingly fragile girl, as if made of porcelain, was the organizer of mass traps on the clan's territory. Moreover, they were thought out so competently, as if they were set by an experienced Anbu, and not a girl who knew nothing about the art of shinobi. You definitely knew that Naruto would still prove himself. Definitely. That day, The entire Uzumaki territory was dangerous not only for physical health, but also for mental health. All the puddles were connected by some kind of signal system that launched an obstacle course. Wet sand flew out of various flower beds. The ceiling with dripping resin, repainted in pink and bright green colors. But this is only a small and harmless part of their pranks. On the walls there were various drawings and inscriptions like, the first, like Hashirama, do you want to dance well, but you don't have a teacher? Uchiha Madara will gladly give you a couple of lessons that you will never forget. I haven't figured out how to get revenge yet, but I will. I shoot point blank for ramen in the yard. But now everyone knew that it was better not to anger Naruto Hime. If one offends, everyone will suffer. And since then, Kohiri Uzumaki is no longer scolded. Commentary on Chapter 3. A walk around the block. Sorry for not writing for a long time, I really apologize. The beta issue has not been resolved. I haven't found anyone suitable for this role yet. The chapter is small again, but I can't help myself, maybe in the future they will become bigger. Although I tried to make more events. Thank you for reading and leaving feedback, it really helps with the writing. The main plot line should start soon. All the best. P.S. I'm writing at night again, so there may be more typos, or there may not be, who knows my inflamed brain. P.B. The issue with the beta has been resolved. Bekino. Chapter 4. Unexpected news in a creepy sensei. Well, that was a joke. Honestly, my original idea was to just paint as many buildings as possible, but then. Better not to remember. Although I didn't get a reprimand. And everything would be fine, except that Kushina with a frying pan inspires more fear than Morino Ibiki with all the torture devices. There are also advantages in the form of the younger generation of Uzumaki in my personal guard. Also, according to my calculations, my training as Hime should begin soon. I just hope I don't screw it up. But I can always think about my future, and I have plenty of time for that. But I don't always have time to eat, so I'll grab my hands and run to wash and get myself in order. In the bathroom, I was tormented by something else. I need to do something with this hair. No, why so long? I can just cut it shorter, and everything will be great, but on the other hand. It's a reminder of my belonging to the great clan. The red color reminds me of my mother and my family in general, so I can't lay a hand on this wealth. Oh well, what is there besides shampoo? Arg, I spent over an hour fiddling with all this nonsense. And most of the time, of course, was spent on my hair. All the balms, conditioners and rinses were tried, and now I smell like herbs and fruits a mile away. Gorgeous. The camouflage is no good, although, what kind of camouflage can you have at 6 years old? That's right, none. We're enjoying ourselves. I entered the kitchen in full dress. Hey, I look like Ino during various official meetings. With a beautiful, but combat kimono. And with yesterday's sandals. Well, you can't stop being beautiful. Heh. Having wished everyone a good morning and bon appetit, I sat down at the table and began to eat. All this time they were glaring at me, which meant they wanted to say something. And I, however, turned out to be right. A minute later, Kushina drew attention to herself. Naru, we thought about it for a long time and decided that you and Menma should take the exam after all. You didn't manage to do it. She began uncertainly. I think I heard something like that. Seeing the bewilderment on my face, she immediately explained. Every Uzumaki of the main line must pass the test for the right to be considered the heir. Since the current head, my brother, has no children, you are the main contenders for this role. Because you are twins, one of you will be the future head, and the other, an advisor or right hand. Mom finished her tirade. Well, it makes sense. It seems that this test is taken in pairs and at a certain age. The coma ruined everything, but Menmu should have been automatically recognized as the main prince. Something doesn't add up. There is a catastrophic lack of information. The exam is in 3 days, don't embarrass yourself, Minato croaked coldly. Some refrigerator, not my father. Nodding in unison, we continued eating. Well, trouble is brewing. Maybe that's why Naruto wanted to awaken the chains. Yeah, most likely. I need to check that out, and I should train too. It's decided, training after breakfast, and then I'll run to the quarter. Breakfast was over, and having thanked her for the food, I warned my mother and left. But I hadn't taken one thing into account. The training ground. Where to find this miracle item? The chance that I'll find a free one is pretty small. And that means that I'll visit my relatives earlier. 2 in 1, what can you do? Here again, in one of my favorite places. Even after what I threw out, they still looked at me with love, well, and not without smiles. Judging by the surprise, my brother and I don't come here often. And that's in vain. After asking everyone I could, I found out that I have my own place to train. But that's not all. I even have a teacher who is waiting for me now. What are Uzumaki's training methods? Soon the objects of my worries appeared. A testing ground like any other. Only it feels strange. Hello, sensei. I looked at the tall guy with long hair, styled in a braid with sanban. Black eyes looked straight into the soul. Quite a strange color for a person of our clan. Is he an Uchiha? The same soulless and expressionless look. Naruto Hime, hello, I'm glad you decided to start preparing for the test. I think we can get started. What manners, he didn't even introduce himself. Although, I'm not sure he's emotionally stable. Like Sai, only he was pretending, and this one really has a fishy look. Looks like a don't give a damn guy. Sai number 2, that's what I called this weirdo, headed towards the lonely tree. It was huge. A powerful trunk went high up. The branches were strong and powerful. The leaves simply oozed energy. So that's why this place feels so stuffy. As if you're in something viscous and sticky. As if you're drowning, but you don't pay attention to it. Everything is fine, right? I heard something about this. Hashirama created different types of plants, some produce chakra, others, the opposite. A kind of photosynthesis. And then instincts sounded the alarm. Run, run, run. I dodged the blow to the chest area with pure reaction. This strange man was still standing above me. He was my sensei. What the hell? Not only did this blockhead attack without warning, he also didn't explain anything. But it was not the time to reason, I had to act. Somehow standing up and pulling a kunai out of my pouch, I took a defensive stance. This Sai, I'll call him that, took no action and just stood there stupidly. It's better for me. Driving my chakra through the channels, I tried to think of the slightest plan of action, but as luck would have it, nothing but, turn around and run, came to mind. The guy suddenly moved from his place and ran towards me with a tanto in his hands, to which I responded with 2 shurikens, and then a third. From the outside it will seem that the kid just missed, but Sasuke Uchiha himself taught me shuriken jutsu, and these big-eyed ones are the best at it. There was a fishing line tied to the weapon. The teacher didn't even have to dodge. That was the mistake. Waiting for the right moment, I shouted and threw a smoke bomb at his feet. The element of surprise was the only thing that could save me now. Running around my clansmen, I closed the fishing line circle and sent chakra through it. The wire exploded and launched shurikens at the target. The clang of metal was heard. Literally a few seconds later, a kunai was pressed to his neck. Well, boy, you've played too much. My leg was already raised to strike, when suddenly, Toshi, liberation, a male voice was heard from the side. For some reason it seemed familiar to me. Sai, or rather Toshi, jumped back, and I was able to turn my head. There were 3 people standing in front of me. In the middle was a stately man, you wouldn't give him even 48, but he was an Uzumaki, and we, as we know, live long. On either side of him stood the Anbu of the whirlpool, which was evident from the characteristic bandages. His blood was boiling, maybe he was my close relative. Naruto Hime, I greet you, the old man, who doesn't look like one at all, answered with all the pathos inherent to clan heads. Stop, pathos. He's definitely the head, probably. Oh, come on. Ah, Chief, glad to meet you. I hope you'll take the trouble to explain why the trainer provided by the clan suddenly attacked from behind. Oh, my favorite part. Surprise. For greater effect, you need to fold your arms across your chest and smile slyly, as if it wasn't their plan, but mine. The uncle first made a questioning face, and then smiled in the same way. Oh, forgive me, Toshi had to check you. The elders insisted on this method. That's how, I respect you. He got his bearings quickly. And he dumped everything on the others. The third used this method before. Oh, is that so? And what did you decide? Did I pass the test? I'm a little tired, I'm folding up. We just came to discuss this moment. Let's go to the conference room. Oh, I want to go home. Too bad there's no choice. Not seeing my refusal, the nameless head headed towards the room. Tobarama is my uncle, how difficult it is. Commentary on Chapter 4. Unexpected news in a creepy sensei. Sorry. This chapter took a long time to write. I didn't abandon the FIC by any means, I just don't have much time, and the chapters are small anyway. I tried to make this one longer, but it failed here too. Thanks to those who read this crap. I promise the next chapter will be longer. P.B. Bekino. Chapter 5. Trial and Hellish Training. So, it's time for conclusions and inferences. I'm probably going with my uncle, if I put Kushina's words together. They're taking me to some meeting. There was some kind of check, and I don't know if I passed or not. And this is taking into account the fact that I didn't agree on anything in advance. Probably, the process of finding a testing ground was leaked somewhere higher up. Oh, I forgot to mention Sai-sensei, he's been following us all this time. The sponsor of my test. What a bastard. And Ku got offended. Oh well, we've gotten out of worse troubles. We walked in silence on the way to the head's residence. Only occasionally did passers-by glance at us. With obvious curiosity. Are they waiting for another work of art? Sorry, but not today. The trial is on the agenda, well, and the probable execution. The main building looked quite powerful. A 3-story structure in the shape of a circle. At first glance, if you look from the side of an ordinary civilian or ordinary shinobi, then on the walls and all sorts of surfaces there is simply beautiful carving. But if you know something about FUNN, then a huge picture of protective, strengthening, recognizing types of chakra and many other seals will appear in front of you. This is not even mentioning the barriers. After the war, I studied the basics, although you can't call it studying. What I found, I learned. So, I could know the paralyzing seal of rank A and I can't even guess about everyday FUNN. We went inside, where Kushina and Minato were waiting for us. What? How so? They weren't supposed to know about this. Damn, it was planned. Ha, you think you're the smartest. Oh, no, if there's one thing I've learned, it's keeping a straight face. Let them think I'm the Grey Cardinal. Mew ha ha. Okasama, Odo-sama, I didn't expect to meet you, I bowed respectfully to my parents. Sorry, Naru, that we didn't talk about this. Kushina looked away. Oh, it's nothing, Dadbeo. Mom smiled, and Minato seemed to have just returned from the Uchiha quarter. Do they all have stone faces when they come in? It seems so. Imouto, Minato, good afternoon. They are already waiting for us, how interesting and exciting. I have never been to such events. We walked through ordinary corridors, they were no different from the Hokage residence. Whirlpool Anbu and ordinary employees ran back and forth. An ordinary day. Nothing special. Our little procession approached a huge oak door. Guess what was carved on it? That's right, seals. Inside was a typical courtroom. The stands were spread out along the walls in a semicircle. In front of them, on the western side, there were 2 stands, similar to those on the eastern side. A little further from the door was the place for the accuser. And the judge towered over the defendant. Well, that's cute. The doors creaked and mummies crawled out from the sides. There's no other way to describe this gathering. They look like that with the youth of Uzumaki. I'll bet these lived before Hashirama and Madara were born. Yeah, exhibits. Head, Kushina Hime-sama, Hokage-sama, Naruto Hime-chan, glad to meet you. The elder's voice whispered. She was a heavy-set woman of about 105 years old. Her drooping cheeks and numerous wrinkles spoke of her hard fate. Her red hair, already very gray, was gathered into a bun. Only her green eyes still shone with youth. What can I say, a spectacular lady. The others nodded in greeting. My name is Suzumi Uzumaki, nice to meet you, Naruto-chan, said Suzu-san. Likewise, Suzumi-sama. Bowing slightly, I returned to my original position. So, everyone is here, it's time to get started. And they began. But I didn't understand anything. Not at all. When the words somehow lined up, they immediately lost their meaning or I had no time for it. It was as if my consciousness dissipated. Exactly. I don't know what they used on me, but it has a structure similar to genjutsu. I'll try to change the speed of the chakra flow, fortunately I learned it recently. However, no matter how hard I tried, all I heard from them throughout the entire discussion was, it's dangerous, it can't be, why, and, if we're going to certify, then. Well, not much. The adults have finished, and holy ramen, if only everything would be fine. Naruto-chan, we're done. And everyone would be very interested to know what you heard, Gigi addressed me. Having listed the words, I stared at the adults. From their faces, one could safely assume that I was not supposed to hear anything from this meeting. Or maybe I was supposed to, but something different. Well, okay, we unanimously decided that you have the right to take the exam. Now, it's up to you. Uncle was pleased, Minato was shocked, and Mom was proud. Well, what did you think? Uzumaki are not so simple. They just never saw you as a child, the fox chuckled. Oh, you. So you're not mad at me? Why would I, the great demon fox, be offended by a pathetic little human? Never. I was simply restoring some balance, and neutralizing the rest of the bookmark. True, There will be side effects, but that's not so important. Nine-Tailed finished his monologue. Wow, you're cool. While I was chatting here with Kurama, the participants of the trial said goodbye to me in the real world. I'll go train. I still need to check the chains, train some scrolls with FUNN, pump up my control to a normal level. Why is this happening to me? Naruto Hime-san, are you okay? Oh, look who spoke, the statue of all of Konoha. Although, looking at my face, on which such emotions as joy, pride, despondency and anger were changing at the same time, even such a pillar would react. Yes, no need to worry. Wait, if I need to get stronger, then who else but him will help me? Well, Toshi, you will train me. Toshi-sensei, could you train me? Well, as if he has a choice. Of course, with pleasure. It's obvious, look how he beamed, this is not like him anymore. So the liberation was really needed for a mental bookmark. My uncle is hiding more, much more than it seems. Then, let's go. He nodded and headed after the guy. Although, it would be better if I didn't do that. He turned out to be a much bigger sadist than Sasuke without tomatoes. These 3 days were the hardest in my life. This monster did not spare me, and I actually spent the night at the training ground. The training included meditation, physical exercises in the style of the power of youth, lessons in FUNN, tactics, combat, taijutsu and shurikenjutsu. Of course, nothing good came of it. I can only walk on vertical surfaces and I hit 8/10 with kunai and, slightly better, 9/10 with shuriken. I didn't even try senbons. Fuinjutsu is only at the level of calligraphy. And my tactics and combat are developed without his lessons. An Anbu captain, after all. Tai is average, even a little lower. But, as Toshi said, it is not necessary to study academic taijutsu, since after the exam, they will begin to teach me the clan style. I have not had the opportunity to try chains, yet. During all this time, I have not even seen my relatives. I still haven't figured out what the problem was. In the meantime, Toshi-sensei, where are we going? This idiot, not a very good person has been dragging me somewhere for an hour now and mysteriously keeping silent. In fact, he turned out to be not so terrible. It's just that back then he was programmed, and essentially became a robot. But otherwise, he's a cheerful young man. Calm, unlike other Uzumaki his age. Even somehow constrained, as if he has no right to relax. Tight and somehow forcing a smile. I hope I can find out his secret. We're almost there. Be patient, Hime-san, easy to say. I'll change my mind. I won't help him. That Uzumaki Naruto himself, the psychologist of the entire shinobi world, would refuse to help someone. I don't believe it. Oh, I'm not Yamanaka. Come on, gurgle some more for me here. Gurgle, fuck. We've arrived. The teacher interrupted our discussion. A wide fair stretched out before us, but not a simple one. This is a special fair for shinobi from all over the world. I've seen one like this a couple of times in my world, but I didn't really get a good look at it. Holy ramen, this is. Yes, you will admire it later. Now I need to go to see a friend. He did something for you. We passed through the improvised gate and headed to the left wing. There were various artifacts and scrolls everywhere. Everything was shining and glittering. The air was simply filled with chakra. Colorful clothes from different countries, spices and seasonings. It was all simply magical. While looking around, I missed the moment when we approached the shop. It was a small tent with various weights, vests, bracelets with light FUNN. Someone from Uzumaki Supplies, or is he from a side branch? I'll have to ask later. Oh, look who's here. It's little Toshi. A huge man floated out from behind the stand. It was clear from his body that this man used to be a warrior, powerful and invincible. These are the kind of people they talked about in the chronicles. But age has left its mark, and a small belly has appeared on his pumped-up body. However, despite this, I know for sure that this guy will twist me into a ram's horn with one look. His brown eyes pierced right through me. And the color of his hair spoke of belonging to the clan. Interesting. If I could, I would even lick my lips. Damn, at this rate, I'll go crazy about immortality and start luring little boys to my shelter. Keep me out of it. Kami forbid. So, let's get back to the guy. Hello, Sui-sensei. I am glad to see you in good health, Toshi bowed. Oh, and this is probably your student. Ho. Hello, Naruto Hime-chan. Su stretched his lips into an incomprehensible grin, although it was a smile, I think, and narrowed his eyes. Muttering something similar to a greeting, I began to look at the improvised bench. While I was watching the beautiful butterflies that had landed on some ficus a minute ago, the adults had already decided everything, and they pushed me into the fitting room to try on a combat suit for the exam. According to tradition, the person who prepared the air for the test had to give a parting gift. Usually it was either a weapon or a suit. Uzumaki has many traditions regarding training, but personally I only have a bit of information that sensei explained to me. But more on that later. The kimono itself, and it was my gift, was dark burgundy, embroidered with gold and silver threads. A knowledgeable person would have noticed the ligature of symbols, but otherwise, just patterns. The fabric inside was red. The sleeves, covering the arm completely, were wide, and I had already noticed the sealing seal. There are 20 of them, which is very convenient and practical. In the belt there was a compartment for various paper items, such as an explosive seal and other blanks, although I don't know how to make them yet, but who's stopping me from asking for a ready-made seal, and then just nourish it with chakra? That's right, no one. So with such equipment I'll beat everyone. Probably. But let's not talk about the bad, let's move on to another gift. A hairpin, definitely made to match the kimono, since the color scheme is similar, but why do I need an accumulator when I have enough chakra as it is? At least my hair won't get in the way. When I left the fitting room, I saw appraising glances directed at me. Well, I'm a girl, I can flirt. Well, how do you like it, Naruto Haim-chan? Do you like it? Of course, it's such an expensive suit for free. Of course. Thank you very much, and here I really thank them, because for a former homeless orphan this is a great honor. Having said goodbye, we left the tent. There was very little time. I had to be at a certain masked temple in the morning. Yeah, I know how to get into trouble. But I am Uzumaki Naruto, after all. I'm not afraid of anything. The adventure continues. Commentary on Chapter 5, The Trial and Hellish Training. Wow, I did it. My god, I'm writing at a snail's pace and I apologize for that. The chapter came out after 2 to 3 months as usual. But this one seems to be longer. Thanks for your attention. Bekano. Exam. Exam. What an important and ironic word. Each time, it was a turning point in his life. And now, much, if not everything, depended on him. For the first time, he realized that he had found a man he could consider his father, as well as a technique that would become his signature. In the second, he realized that his powers were not enough to protect his friends, and a turning point in his history came, a meeting with Orochimaru. And now, for the third time, his fate is decided by the results of the exam. Further education, relationships in the family and clan, everything is connected. Naruto came to an abandoned-looking building. As it turned out, it was the Uzumaki Mask Temple. The only thing that reminded her of the clan's existence in Konoha of her past world. The exam was supposed to take place here, but there was no one there, and the boy, or rather, the girl, decided to go inside. Ku, scan the area, please. After a while the fox reported that he felt a certain presence. But he didn't notice anything else strange. Uzumaki walked further. The temple was bigger inside. The floor didn't creak, which was rather strange, it smelled of dust. There was a draft, instead of the whistling wind, a quiet whisper, literally piercing the body through and through. The eyes couldn't get used to the semi-darkness. And various shadows were visible everywhere. And so, the Uzumaki heiress came out to the main hall. In the middle stood a beautiful throne. On it sat the Reaper. The crimson hair of the Shinigami child entwined him like threads, a velvet robe, a devilish grin and a terrible voice woven from souls. He was everything and nothing. Something single and branched. Having heard his voice, you will not be able to describe it. It is mediocre and bright, loud and quiet, low and high. He is the one who was not mentioned in the clan, the founder, the son of Shinigami. The one who left his peace and appeared at the exams, testing new blood. Hello, double-minded, I see in you a trace of blood, long lost. Come, do not be afraid. Everything stopped. Nothing else existed for Naruto. Only he, and the voice. I haven't met anyone like you in my class for a long time. The last one was, I think, the Moon Queen, but that's not the point now. Objects appeared in the Reaper's hands. What will you choose, child, a beautiful scepter or ugly scales? The ground suddenly went out from under Naruto's feet, but it did not fall, it only hung in the darkness. In front of him there was only the Reaper and a choice. Her choice. And the scepter was amazing. Golden, with bloody rubies, it beckoned, called, and clearly gave unlimited power. They punished with it because they could. The power of the head was undeniable, and she was the heiress, and not of some seedy clan, but of Uzumaki, children of fate and death. But no matter how brilliant it was, under the splendor there was rotten blood. There was a lot of it did not stop flowing. Faces with unbearable grimaces of horror and agony floated in the facets of the rubies. This is what made them suffer, this is the reason for the wars. No, this is for the Biju, the scepter needs to be destroyed, but it's unlikely that she can do it. And what about scales? Old, rusty, metal scales. Worn by time, but faithful. Horrible to look at, they repel with their ugliness. But nothing can compare with this device in justice. The head of Uzumaki punishes the guilty, protects the clan. The children of the whirlpool live in a stormy stream and, in a fit of passion, cannot hold back. The dilapidated, metallic blue bowls protect the honor of demons. All or nothing, greed or truth, it depends only on you. Choose wisely. The Reaper's voice appeared in his head like a quiet rustle. But the grin remained the same. Thoughts are confused in my head, memories come and go in fits and starts. Souls merged. Crackling. The floor creaked. The little girl clutched her head. Her skull was bursting at the seams, and she couldn't think rationally. But this wasn't a battle of thoughts, but of blood. She suddenly jumped up and did what she had to do. And the gloomy silhouette disappeared, only his residual laughter made all the Uzumaki nervously shrug their shoulders. Light, so bright and powerful, sound, loud, bursts into consciousness. Chief, what to do? The first barrier is broken. Who is shouting? Who are they addressing? I don't understand. The troops are coming from the left flank, these devils found out about the well. What flanks? What are they talking about? These people are telling me. It's not clear. Chief, how do you order us to proceed? Chief, how, when? No, we need to understand. Understand. The scarlet-haired woman's eyes widen and she gasps for air. It seems she has found something she lost long ago and is trying to live with it again. She looked hard at her charges. Somehow, she knew what was going on, who these people were and what their abilities were, as well as the current goal. But that wasn't particularly important right now. After thinking for a few more minutes, the head began to give orders. She sent, formed, reformed, changed, strengthened. And she did everything with such poise, as if besieging an entire village was a routine matter for her. The head coped, repelled the attack, and, calmly exhaling, lost consciousness. How? Tell me, how could this underage, insecure, untalented outcast girl make the Reaper himself appear, and save Uzushio as well? After the Second Shinobi World War, the exam was held under more stringent conditions. The first part was a choice, this has not changed. And during the second, the heir must take control of the situation and not give in to difficulties and unexpected situations. Previously, this was a common situation that is often encountered on missions. After the attack on Uzushio, the exam was the attack itself. The goal was not to save the village, but to take everything under control. But this girl stood out here too. What kind of genius do you have to be? You himself took this exam, but even he, the head of the red-haired demons, did not achieve this. The only thing that you knows for sure at the moment is that big changes are coming. I woke up sitting on a throne, holding an old scale in my hands. What happened? I remember exactly that I didn't sit down anywhere. There was some spirit there, he was saying something, but I don't remember anymore. I couldn't call coup, which means I need to look around. Stop. Why am I talking about myself in a female person? Did my souls really merge during the exam and now I don't reject my female essence? I'm thinking about the wrong thing, not about that at all. What's important now are the people who stood kneeling in front of me. Noticing the surprise on my face, the head said, Naruto Hime-sama, based on the results of the exam, we recognize you as a true Hime, and the future head of the Uzumaki clan. We consider it an honor to show you our respect. You know, I wouldn't say that I really like this, but now I'm really happy. Commentary on exam. I apologize for the delay, the size is lame again, but I tried. Honestly, I don't remember what name I gave the head, but I don't think I mentioned it in the chapters, so he's now you. Bekino. Chapter 7. Explanations. When Menma entered the temple, he immediately understood that there was no way back. No, nothing creaked or frightened. But there was a clear sense of danger in the air. Now he could only go forward, he could not disgrace his father and the clan. It seemed like the boy had been meandering through these corridors for an eternity, although it had been no more than 5 minutes. Finally, he reached a spacious hall. At the end stood a huge, majestic throne, and on either side of it were 2 stands. On one of them lay an amulet of unprecedented beauty, and on the other, a typewriter, worn out by time. The boy suddenly wanted to take the amulet from the table. Menma felt that this artifact contained enormous power. And it was more pleasant to look at a shiny object than at an old and broken machine. The thought that this might be a trap appeared in his head, but he brushed it aside as an unnecessary bug and went straight to the decoration. Greed and thirst for power seized his heart and mind. Uzumaki wants only one thing: powerful force. This was his mistake. Will he be able to justify himself? The second stage will decide. He woke up in an unknown place and panicked. The light was shining brightly in his eyes, and loud sounds prevented him from concentrating. People were walking around, talking, demanding something. Why did they all want something from him? He was only 6 years old. His father, mother, brothers, the clan, and the whole village, everyone was expecting great things from him, incredible talent. No one thought that maybe he wanted to play with the guys outside for a while, and not go to practice. What can you do? The boy envied his worthless sister. She was free from all this, but she did not understand her happiness. It was so good to live freely, without obligations imposed on you. Isn't it nice to receive praise? All his efforts were rewarded. Minato was proud of him, as were his brothers, his mother gently praised him, and the village called him a genius. So, why was he whining? Was he not capable of it? Then what kind of genius was he? Menma cast aside his doubts and took action. Uzumaki was receiving information, and he was managing it as best he could. The boy loved strategy and tactics, but he was still far from Yukine. The enemies were attacking more powerfully, and the scarlet-haired man tried to fight them off. Many residents were evacuated, but the siege of Uzushio was complete. When Menma woke up, he was surprised to find himself still in the temple, lying on a futon. Oh, you're already awake, how are you feeling? Does your head hurt? You appeared from behind the wall. No, everything's fine, he looked carefully at his uncle. Oh, that's good, and Naruto hasn't woken up yet. Well, okay, let's go to the throne room, almost everyone is already gathered. The boy nodded and they left the room. I wonder if I completed the task. And Naruto? No, I doubt it, Menma thought. They turned the corner and found themselves in the very room where he had made his choice. His sister was sleeping on the throne, clutching an old scale in her hands. Their clanmates had gathered around. Elders and even ordinary Uzumaki came up to him and congratulated him on his successful completion. Suddenly Naruto opened her eyes. At first she seemed not to understand where she was, and then understanding appeared in her gaze. And what happened next surprised Menma himself. How? His weak-willed weakling sister suddenly did better, almost brilliantly. And when they said that from now on he would be her right hand, the boy completely fell into a stupor. Yes, a strong break in the pattern, but he still bowed his head. If you said so, then so it was, and his sister was clearly hiding her talents. However, they were waiting for a detailed explanation of the situation, only later. Now only applause. Oh, that was hard. Still, the connection of my soul with the soul of Naruto here went faster due to outside interference. It is not yet clear who did it, but there is the fact. Our small group, consisting of me, Uncle, Toshi and Menma, headed to another room. Ahem, now it's time for the showdown, Yu said and clapped his hands. Oh, this is for a long conversation. I hope it's interesting. During the exam, the test subjects, after they get to the temple, so to speak, move into another reflection. In the chronicles they said that the FUNN responsible for this was created by the founder for individual testing. For example, you, Naruto, made a choice between the scales and the scepter, and Menma, between the typewriter and the amulet. These different things represent the same thing, and each time it is something special. Does that mean it is impossible to know in advance what will happen at this stage? Cunning. The second stage moved your consciousness into a certain barrier with memories. Now this is an attack on Uzushio. How does it work? I asked myself unexpectedly. That's the reason for the abnormally fast connection of souls. The barrier simply swept everything into a heap. You and your brother will learn this, Haim-sama. During clan training, the head looked at Menma and me with a sly grin. Well, and about the goal of the second stage, you probably guessed it yourself. The goal was action. Peef. Of course, it was important to take control of the situation. The brother spoke for the first time in a long time. Exactly, young man, that's what this unit is checking. Well, I think you've had enough. You can go home and have a good rest. Yes, I would like to believe it. Having said goodbye to you, we left the temple, where the Maelstrom Anbu were already waiting for us. Having reached the house, I quickly slipped through the stairs, literally flew into my room and plopped down on the bed. I had absolutely no strength left. Go to sleep already, child, you deserve it, Kurama's quiet voice served as a pleasant lullaby for me. Today had been a very difficult day for Toshi. His ward had to pass the certification for the right to be called Hime Uzumaki, and now, only when Naruto and his brother left the room, he could breathe a sigh of relief. But one thing was bothering him. Chief, tell me, why does Naruto Hime's behavior absolutely not match the portrait? This question had been tormenting him for a long time. After all, according to the psychological portrait, the only daughter of the Yondaime Hokage was a quiet, untalented, and unremarkable child who was afraid even of her own shadow. But in reality, the girl was a mischievous fox, bright, brave, and most importantly, she grasped everything she was taught on the fly. Where is that downtrodden mouse? Ah, that's quite an interesting question, Yu chuckled slightly. No one knows. After the coma, she shouldn't have changed in any way, numerous consciousness checks yielded nothing, her mind is clear. What do you say? Does such a thing happen? Apparently, but you must admit, such changes are clearly for the better. A mysterious smile lit up the head's face. Toshi thought it would be better if he hadn't seen her at all. It was scary. I went to bed at 1 o'clock and woke up at 7. However, I felt great, which is rather strange. Most likely, it was Ku who did it. Well, who else? But it's not time to sleep. I need to act, and first, I should take a bath and change my clothes. After all, my clothes are dusty. After all the planned actions, I decided to show myself to the world. And I did it in not very good form. It turns out that they were waiting for me to congratulate me. Everything was decorated, the table was set, all the family members were gathered, and even a smile was pulled onto Minato's face. Yes, something from the fantasy section. My green terry shorts, a large blue t-shirt, obviously borrowed from one of the brothers, and pink slippers with a frog clearly did not fit in. But Bloody Habanero clearly did not dwell on this, so she dragged me to the table, where she began to ask about how everything happened. Menma, she seemed to have tortured him, and now he ate his food with a calm soul. Kushina, in turn, told about her adventures, which was interesting. But the most important thing is that I was praised. Wow, is this stale bread really capable of praise? I didn't expect it. But this is progress, comrades. Small steps on a long road. This is the path from a moron to a normal father. Yes, Naruto, we all understood the sharpness of your sarcasm. Be careful not to prick yourself, Kurama commented. Oh, come on, nothing special, although it won't change his attitude. And I don't care, to be honest, Kyuubi chuckled ironically somewhere in his subconscious. Fortunately or not, Naruto didn't hear him. But let's get back to the events. My mother stopped tormenting me and started asking Yuichi and Yukine if they should at least eat. Noticing that there was nothing more to catch here, she said goodbye to the family and headed to the room. I am well aware that if the stages consisted of physical competitions, I would not have seen this title. And that means studying, and studying. Where were the books for students at the academy? Commentary on Chapter 7, Explanations. Wow, short chapter, but fast. But the next one will be longer, because the storyline will be moving forward there. Well, at least that's how I plan it. Bekino. Chapter 8. You know, it was easier for me as an orphan. The morning started as usual. I woke up from Kurama's scream in my subconscious. I washed my face, still not figuring out what to do with my hair. I just pinned my bangs with the hairpin I was given. But with clothes, there were, problems. On the one hand, I wanted to wear something nice, in keeping with my status, and on the other hand, I wanted to forget about it and not bother. Finally, it ended with a black t-shirt and shorts, diluted with the red monogram of the Uzumaki clan. Going down to the table where all the members of our family had gathered. Oh no, Yukine hadn't arrived yet. Strange. He's usually the first one to get up. And from Naruto's memory here, it's clear that the boy is punctual and collected. And here, maybe he has a mission or something, he's worried, getting ready. After all, he recently received Chunin. And that imposes obligations. Mom was chattering cheerfully about something, to which we all nodded in unison, more like automatically, without being distracted from our food. This, so to speak, idle, was interrupted by a breathless Yuki, who ran up to us. Sorry for being late. The blonde said, choking on the first syllable. By the way, our appearance is varied. Jeans gave us interesting options. Yuichiro is a blue-eyed blonde with his mother's facial features. Yukine is an exact copy of Minato, only with purple eyes. And Menma and I look like Kushina, only with blue eyes. But then, everyone is beautiful, though, it bothers me that no one has dark skin, and in the past world I really stood out because of that. Are you okay, Yuki? You don't look so good. Miracles of deduction. Yes, Mom, I'm a little nervous about the mission, that's what I was saying. Ni-san, what is this mission? Oh, it was a mistake Menma, it was a mistake ee. And then a long lecture began about the connections between the villages, the tense situation between them, and how his team had been taken on a mission to improve relations. For about a month or two, silence reigned. After a few sips of tea, the head of the family began to speak. Menma, Naruto, you know about guest visits to friendly clans, right? Seeing our puzzled faces, he continued. Now, as the official heirs of the Uzumaki clan, you must reveal yourselves to the world at the clan meeting. Oh, I remember that beehive when I laid claim to Uzushio. I had to show up in full dress and bow to those fossils. But this will be something tougher. I hope I survive. Yes, and Naruto, you will have to find the most attractive groom from the heirs. What? What the fuck? What the hell? Groom? I'm 6 years old, does that bother anyone? What am I, some kind of bargaining chip? Seriously? No, where is my clan laws reference book? Oh yeah, he's peacefully snoring at home. Well, fine, I'll have time to visit him. And what time will this event be? My favorite smile and key to boot. I won't connect coup for now. To avoid, so to speak. In the evening, at 7. You have free time until 5. Oh, how pale you turned. Good, I won't torture you anymore. Having thanked my mother, I left the table, said goodbye, shouted something about being in the quarter, and left. So, the first thing to do is go to Akeo, he's the one who knows almost everything about etiquette, rules and such. Who is he anyway? One of those kids I helped back then. The obvious leaders were his brother Akio, and Kohiri, yes, that same girl for whom we did all this. But Akeo and Yasu served as a restraining factor. Yasu, the girl with pigtails, but clearly not. Listen, Naru, why are you saying all this? As if you're telling someone. Kurama suddenly emerged. I don't know, it's just easier for me to look at the situation from the outside, and this method allows me to abstract myself from the surrounding reality. Oh, what little words you know, is it you? Haha, how funny. No, with all this conversation, I didn't notice how I reached my destination. After knocking 3 times, I began to wait. A few minutes later, light steps were heard. The door was opened by a short woman of 30 with a round, kind face. Oh, Haim-sama, good morning. We were not expecting you to come. She immediately began to fuss and let me inside. Hello, everything is fine, I didn't warn anyone myself, you have nothing to apologize for, and are the boys still asleep? While Mamo, I mentally nicknamed her that, was chattering about something, I looked at their home. It was quite nice. A small entrance hall in beige tones, peach-colored walls with funny flowers and photographs, the parquet did not creak at all. Overall, a solid house. We reached the dining room, it was connected to the kitchen, which was convenient. Almost all the family members were already sitting at the table, the only ones missing were their older sister and father, they seemed to be on a mission. Ah, Naruto Haim, good morning. Hey, if only Menma and I had such synchronicity. Akio and Akeo were completely different, but their coordination is enviable. When they grow up, they will be a good fighting pair. But that's not the point now. I have a lot of plans for them in general. She nodded back to them while Mamo-san bustled around. After exchanging the usual phrases, we waited for their mother to tactfully leave us. Which is what happened. Having said something about the market, the woman said goodbye and left. So what brought you here? Akeo realized that the same could not be said about his brother, judging by the boy's surprised face. You have a cozy house, and what is your mother's name? You didn't answer. Momoko. Aren't you too smart for 6? I can't come to visit my friends anymore. Oh, I know how to give nicknames. Mamo and Momoko are the same thing. Well, almost. Usually, when you come, something unusual always happens. Well, what can you do, it just happens that way. Well, explain. What's wrong? I don't understand you. Oh, what a cutie. Akio pouted comically and frowned. Now I understand Itachi and his sick obsession with Sasuke. Ha, nothing like that, Aki, it's just that your brother is against my company, right, aka Kun. What? No way. I don't. That's not true. Phew, he's a kid after all. Something wrong with his reactions and thinking. What if he's a time traveler too? That's what I was thinking. Okay, I believe you. So, as you know, today Menmu and I will be officially introduced as heirs. And, as my father said, today they will choose a groom for my humble person, but since I am the future head, I can challenge the decision. Do you know if there is any way around this, and by what rule am I obliged to do this? Having finished her monologue, she began to wait for the reaction from the guys. For a couple of minutes they both thought in silence. Then Akeo spoke up. Ahem, as far as I know, once every few years, if there is a girl in the ruling branch, a political marriage takes place, uniting two clans. This is beneficial to both sides, as it is both an influx of new blood and additional connections. This year, apparently, is suitable, which means that the mother's share for strong offspring has fallen to you. That's it. It's a pity, but there is no way around it, unless you postpone the marriage to another time, and, of course, choose a life partner. Only like that. It's hard. Who should I choose? I don't really know anything about the position of the clans here. Kami, why do I need this torment? Maybe I should just release Kurama and be done with it. Oh, okay, that's not the solution. Who would you recommend to me? I'm interested to know the opinion of this little smart guy. Uchiha or Senju, Akio suddenly interjected. Or some other clan member, or Sasuke. Why not? What am I saying? When did I start finding this an attractive idea? Is this really the price for merging? Oh, well, screw it. Ahaha, Kurama, this is so funny. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Wow, Akio, where do you get such knowledge? Hey, well, it's just that if you look at the benefits, then these clans are the most, promising, that's it. Well, Yasu was hammering all sorts of nonsense into me about the position of the clans. That's where you have to prick up your ears. So, what did you say she was drilling into you? After about 2 hours, Akeo and I had almost completely learned the political situation between the clans in Konoha. At the top are the Uzumaki, Uchiha, Hyuga and Senju, as important military resources, and the Sharingan are valued more here than in our world. Because during my birth with Menma, the seal weakened and broke. I was born earlier, so the Uzumaki, who were on the safety net, sealed the fox into me, not without losses, as a vessel in contact with poisonous chakra. That's how it is. But let's go back to the clans. There are more of them, by the way. Then Nara, Yamanaka, Akamichi, Inazuka, Aburame, Sarutobi. Well, and the smallest clans, Kurama, Haruno. Something like that, and for now I'm going home, because no one cancelled training. The hero's lot is hard. The long-awaited evening arrived. Kushina dressed me in an exquisite kimono. Honestly, I still don't understand these traditional things, but it's unlikely that Haim won't know what to wear to such events. My hair, which usually hung aimlessly behind my back, was styled by my mother into an intricate hairstyle with various FUNN decorations. Looking in the mirror, I didn't even recognize myself. A worthy and stunning heiress, worthy of her title, was looking at me. However, I was not allowed to be satisfied with my beauty for long. As an official mini-delegation, we headed straight from the quarter to the Hogake residence. Menma and I looked harmonious. Scarlet Devils, we certainly live up to this nickname. Well, Menma not so much, but even he can be creepy. Our group heads towards the hall, our hearts beating faster and faster. How did the guys stand it? Respect for Ino, Shika, Choji, Kiba, Hinata and Shino grew more and more. The door opened. Dozens of eyes are directed only at us. Studying, curious, a little aggressive, anything but indifferent. Even the lazy Nara did not stay away. The heads and heirs gathered in the room. Also the advisors, Danzo and Minato. The first to arrive were our beloved fossils. That is, the respected elders. We are glad to welcome the noble heirs of the Uzumaki clan, Shimura said. According to etiquette, now, there should be a bow, right? She glanced at Menma out of the corner of her eye, and bowed at the same time. The noble heirs of the Uzumaki clan accept the greetings of the respected elders, a sweet smile, but not my signature one. It would look like a threat or something. There is no time for jokes here. Any gesture can have many meanings and significances. But, what is most interesting, I answer, as the leading link. Although, it seems to please my brother. Well, his business. Let's continue. So, who's next? After an eternity of bowing and scraping, everyone finally calmed down and started talking to each other. What shocked me was that the main heir here is Sasuke, not Itachi. And Sakura is no longer quite Sakura, but Sakuto. I hope their personalities haven't changed that much. It's time to talk to the clan kids. Well, who should we go to? I think we should go to Hinata and Ino first. They're together right now. It doesn't matter, we'll just go up to someone and that's it. Despite his indifference, it was clear that he was happy. Of course, it wasn't him who would have to take the rap. Clan etiquette and all that tinsel falls on me. When we started to approach, the girls interrupted their conversation and looked at us with interest. On behalf of the Uzumaki clan's heirs, we greet the noble Haim of the Hyuga and Yamanaka clans, a half-bow and a serious expression. Menma seemed to understand my idea. The noble Haim of the Yamanaka and Hyuga clans mutually greet the honorable heirs of the Uzumaki clan, a prim bow and a slightly rude grin. From Hinata, a minute of silence accompanied by inspired faces. And our friendly laughter dissolved into quiet conversations around. Now it's okay. My name is Hinata, and this blonde is Ino, and who are you? Said Hyuga, extending her hand for us to shake. Yes, that was unexpected. The quiet one herself was dressed in a short purple kimono and dark blue wide pants. Her arms were bandaged up to about the elbows. Although her face and hair were the same, this was a completely different person. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Naruto, and this boy next to me is my brother, Menma. He also shook Hina's hand and nodded to Ino. She was also a little different. No, the appearance is the same, only here she doesn't give off a bitch vibe, although, as a child, Yamanaka wasn't so arrogant, but something like that was felt even then. The clans are kept in check, maybe it's because of the partial martial law. After all, it's not for nothing that Yukine and his team were sent on a diplomatic mission. Likewise, we've seen each other before, I think. Damn, that wasn't in my memories, so calm down, nothing terrible happened. No, I doubt it, Naruto didn't leave the house often. Some people see her for the first time. Menma saved the situation. Okay, +5 to his karma. It's clear. We didn't get to chat with the girls for long. Soon the missing members of Ino Shikacho, the boy from the Kurama clan, Shino and Kiba arrived. Kurama introduced himself as Kyoshi. He had disproportionately long legs and arms, red curly hair and, it seemed, his whole body was covered in freckles. Shika turned out to be Casanova, hitting on Ino and me, but seeing a threat in Menma's face, he stopped. But his intelligence and wit are still at their best. Shoji thoughtfully, with all the childish philosophy, ate the chips, examining, turning and combining. Aburame is still quiet and detached. But at least he doesn't speak in rhymes. That's good. Kiba, well, a dog person with slicked back hair is something else. Kami, his marks on his cheeks looked like bloody tears. It felt like Inuzuka was about to burst into tears. There are only 3 left. Uchiha, Senju, and Haruno. This is going to be difficult. Having said goodbye to the guys, we headed towards this impressive trio. The heirs of the Uzumaki clan greet the heirs of the Senju, Uchiha and Haruno clans, and of course, a respectful smile bordering on light mockery. Hey, why is my clan the last one? Because it's less influential, right? Oh, and here comes the young hysterical Sakura. These intonations bring back memories. Oh, I think the lack of manners is also the reason. Isn't that right? It's very strange to see such respectable persons next to such an ill-mannered youth. Sakuto's face was getting redder by the minute. I didn't pay attention to it. Yes, I will. Not paying attention and completely ignoring the boy, she continued. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and this is my brother, Menma. The brother tried not to smile so openly. The Uchiha and Senju clans are mutually pleased to meet the official heirs of the Uzumaki clan, similar bows and complete ignoring of the pink-haired man. My name is Ryo, and this is Sasuke, a nod towards the Uchiha. We started a calm conversation against the background of one boor's puffing. No respect for a girl. So what was I talking about? Yes, what is rather strange is the character of one Sharingan boy. If Senju is an open child with instilled ambition, then nothing is clear about the young heir Sasuke. This devilish half-grin is clearly familiar to me. But why can't I remember who had the same one? But I can think about it later. Because all the talk has died down. The Hokage is giving a speech. Ahem, please pay attention. So, today we have gathered here for an official introduction to the heirs of the clans. This meeting allowed us to get to know each other better and draw certain conclusions. Thank you all for your attention. This is where the reception is declared closed. Time flew by somehow quickly. It's strange, to be honest. I'm really glad that I saw my friends. They are different, yes, but I'm not the same either. Now all that remains is to accept them as they are, and learn to live like that. Maybe it's not so bad to be here. After saying goodbye to the boys, Menma and I headed towards the Uzumaki delegation. The rest of the journey was silent. The only thing I had the strength for after such a busy day was to undress and finally go to bed. Tomorrow will be a new day. But really, whose grin is that? A painfully familiar grin. Commentary on Chapter 8. You know, it was easier for me as an orphan. Ooh, I tried. The chapter turned out to be so big, there may be some shortcomings and typos. I posted the chapter as soon as I finished it and formatted it a little. You felt something, right? A very big hint about one person. More about everything later. Well, thanks for your attention. Bekano. Chapter 9. So what the hell? Ruto, wake up, idiot. Mom can use a frying pan instead of a kunai. Who's suicidal? I'll rip your little arms off. I'll get up now and rip them off. Just 5 more minutes. Yeah, right now, I'm almost a guy. Naruto, if you're not ready in 10 minutes, you won't see any more toffees. Don't touch what's holy, demon. What a bastard, they won't even let you sleep normally. Menma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My brother's face reflected understanding, and a few minutes later he was no longer in the room. That's how things are done. And my love for these delicious candies was discovered recently. During training, Toshi-sensei sometimes gave me iris as a reward, and since then I can't tear myself away from them. Having completed my morning makeover, dressed in my favorite black pants, obviously borrowed from Yukine, and a gray t-shirt with the clan's monom, I meticulously examined myself in the mirror. Something was clearly missing. Grabbing an elastic band, I tied a casual high ponytail. Now that's good. The atmosphere at the table was joyful, but with my presence it changed abruptly. Everyone looked at me with some caution. Kushina was clearly gathering her courage, but when she finally decided to say something, Minato intervened. Naruto, as you remember, yesterday you were supposed to choose a groom and some clans came with offers. And the clan decided that the best option would be to unite with the Uchiha. I hope you get along. The engagement is in a few days, said the Yondaime and, as if nothing had happened, sat down at the table. What? No, you don't understand. What the hell am I obliged to marry some Uchiha? My indignation knew no bounds. Naruto, darling, it will be better for everyone. No, Mom, it won't. Why can't I choose my own husband when the time comes? This is my life and I get to decide who to tie it to. You know, I'm tired. Very tired. All this time I've been pretending that everything is fine, looking at everything from the optimistic side, but this is too much. Your life has never belonged to you alone. Now, you are nobody, and you can't even do anything. Do you think that everything will be as you wish? No, my dear, you are wrong, right? Now I wanted to spit out everything about my past life, suffering, loss, pain, despondency, despair. But I can't, now. Although, there's one thing that cannot be changed. Hokage-sama, I will try to ignore your insults and unacceptable tone towards the future head of the Uzumaki clan. However, do not forget, with the power given to me, I am postponing the wedding until my husband and I become Junin, and now, please forgive me, I need to leave. Okawa-sama, thank you for the food. Getting up from the table, nodding to her brothers, she headed for the exit. There was deathly silence at the table. The feeling of shame for excessive childish impulsiveness has already caught up with me. Is it really true that any self-control breaks under the pressure of hormones? I came to my senses already sitting on the Hokage mountain. For as long as I can remember, this place has always calmed me down. It's not so picturesque during the day, but now you can feel the city breathing, and it's wonderful. Shinobi running back and forth, civilians working, and children playing. So carefree. Sometimes you want to live the life of one such child. An ordinary one, without chakra, a clan, or any other nonsense. Just live, enjoying it. Have fun. Work. Study. Love. Believe. But I'm not meant to. Sometimes I wondered, why is all this happening to me? But I never found an answer. Maybe, to hell with it, the abyss is so enticing. One more step, and then it will all be over. Come on, just a little. So, you idiot, what are you doing, you half-baked suicide? Now, shoot to the firing range. And it's true. And what was that about? A regular engagement. Well, I'm such a fool. But I still have to go to the firing range. Thanks, Ku. What would I do without you? That's right, remember this more often. Good, good. So, now to the training ground. Yeah, I ran. And again I forgot that it's hard to find a free, working polygon, and the quarter is far away. Although, as far as I remember, the girl had good sensory abilities, why not try them out? I always had problems with this before. Well, let's get started. Sensors can feel space with their chakra. So, You need to release a part of the internal energy with a jerk so that it is imprinted on the surface, and then feel the chakra that has already been released. My feeble abilities spread about 15 meters. Well, that's good. While I'm walking, I need to try to gradually increase the field. After 30 minutes of running, an empty training ground was found, and surprisingly, it was relatively in working order. First of all, let's strengthen the body. Hey, even a rhyme came out. My limit is 3 to 4 circles, 40 squats, 20 push-ups and 6 pull-ups. That's in the best case. Well, let's get started. First the run. Lying on my back and looking at the piercingly blue sky, I felt my heart gradually filling with determination. Everything is happening so quickly that it seems like one terrible dream. As if at any moment I can wake up in my house, go on a mission or just have an interesting time. And yet, it's not even clear what I don't like so much. Here is everything that was missing in my past life, but aren't these difficulties worth it? How tired I am. Maybe I should just go with the flow. Just live on. Try and train. Seduce the asshole or his brother. They have such deep, black eyes, like whirlpools that suck in. My mother Zetsu, what am I saying? It seems that in this case, I just need to resign myself to it. The earth pleasantly cools my hot skin. I really don't want to get up. I probably look like a half-dead swan. Good. Naruto Heim, are you okay? It was until now. Kami, fuck, are you having fun? In one world I was chasing a whore, now these not very nice people constantly stumble upon my mortal body. Ah, Itachi-san, Sasuke-san, good morning. Move away, you bastard, you're blocking the sky. No, I respect Itachi, and Sasuke was my friend, after all, but both of them are really fucking annoying. Totally. Sure. Hello, the possible groom, Sasuke, just nodded. Something was wrong with him. His aura was more, mature or something. How are you doing? I'm not complaining. Are you here relaxing? I really wanted to say something caustic, but I shouldn't. You could say that, but what brings you here? This training ground is assigned to us, so we came. Damn, everything was relatively in order here. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'll leave right now. Yeah, there's not enough regret in the voice, but otherwise, it's fine. No, stay, we can train together. Sasuke needs a sparring partner. She ran right away. I'll be happy to avoid this place. Well, I'll think about this offer, but for now, would you mind if I watch? Yes, but first lift me off the ground. Uchiha nodded affirmatively, and Sasuke extended his hand to me. Having looked at it skeptically, I raised an eyebrow and demonstratively stood up myself. Not without using chakra, of course, but at least myself. The boy only chuckled at this, and twisted his lips into a semblance of a smile. Once I was seated, they began. Nothing out of the ordinary. Physical exercises, throwing shurikens, and finally, sparring. Without wasting time, I watched them while meditating, running my chakra through the channels in various ways. The brothers stood opposite each other. Itachi with a thin tanto and Sasuke with a gunbai. Where from? Okay. My psyche wasn't ready for that. Sasuke suddenly jumped up and did a sweep, simultaneously parrying Itachi's blow with his gunbai. A swing and a false attack, Itachi is caught in a hold, from which he twists away, intercepting his younger brother's hand. Pushing off the weapon, Sasuke hit Itachi on the head, but he covered himself with a tanto. It was clear how both were thinking about the opponent's next move. This time, Itachi attacked first. A swing with his left, but the blow from his right was a dull sound. Itachi's fist hit the body of the gunbai right on target. A second. The blade of the tanto shone near Sasuke's stomach. I'm surprised, I like the little Uchiha here much better. The brothers turned around at the same time when I clapped. Well, what do you think? You're still asking, if my eyes aren't lying and Sasuke really fights like this, then there are simply no words. Very impressive. I liked it. I'm glad. And, it's late, I suppose you wouldn't mind if my brother and I walked you home. It's very late, it's not proper for the Honorable Hima to be alone at 4 o'clock. Thanks for the offer, but I'll decline, I still have things to do. She smiled, bowed and left. That's it, the mission of shooing away one annoying little eyeball was accomplished. The next stop is Ichiraku Ramen. What? Stressful situations are supposed to be dealt with by eating. And since this Konoha is different from my hometown, finding this divine establishment will be difficult, but otherwise, it's an extra workout. Well, surprisingly, the ramen place was found quickly. Looks like the meditations paid off. No, I was just close enough. There are things that change everywhere, and some things are eternal. Like Ichiraku. Still, let this place at least remind me of the past. I didn't really show off and asked for a regular portion. So delicious. Nothing could ruin this moment. Oh, Naruto Haim, what an unexpected meeting. Are you kidding me? Fuck, I'm so happy, she muttered under her breath. What? Sorry, I didn't hear you well, these Uchihas are following me. Paranoia is breathing down my neck. Oh, no, nothing. I'm mutually glad to meet you, and this little bastard smiles. Got it, Sasuke, well, laugh. What I definitely didn't complain about was a bad imagination. I'll make a joke that you'll never forget. While his older brother and I were exchanging various everyday phrases, the little Sharingan idiot and I started a battle of glances. Our conversation went something like this. Someday, I will kill your brother. I understand, but it's not right to kill your potential spouse, don't you think? There are other contenders, aren't there? I don't think our clans will just leave. Especially since Itachi isn't the main heir. Are these already hints at your premature murder? Oh, this offends my feelings, did you really not like me at all, my lady? At this point, our entertaining squabble consisting of smirks and furrowed eyebrows ended, due to the sudden emergence of business for the senior Uchiha. Well, that's good. What if I really like this Sasuke? Having paid, I decided to return home. After all, it was already 7 o'clock, time to call it a day. It was quiet at home. Yukine had gone off on a mission, and Mom was probably either at Makoto's or in the quarter. Yuichi was hanging around somewhere, Menma was training, and Minato. Everyone knew where he was almost all the time. The only thing left for me to do was to study theory and train in control. And go to bed, completely forgetting that tomorrow I'm going to the academy. Commentary on Chapter 9. So what the hell? Lialia, what am I doing? It feels like the whole fanfic is going down one big hole. Well, at least I tried. I hope you appreciate it. P.B. Bekino. Chapter 10. Before the Academy. How nice it is to sleep after a busy day. That's what I thought until I woke up at 4 in the morning because of one flea-infested collar. Yes, Kurama, I'm talking about you. Ungrateful bastard. Are you even telling me this? You woke me up at the crack of dawn. Sent me to meditate on the damn Hokage rock, and it's cold here, by the way, left me without breakfast, and most importantly, without toffees. But that's okay. The most interesting thing is that today is our first day at the academy. I don't really want to go there. I'll be taught what I need to know in the clan, and I myself didn't complain in the other world anyway. But, as always, no one asks me. And I'm still upset with my father and family in general. This incident clearly touched the hidden strings of my soul. I never liked it when someone controlled all my actions. What an irony, even in the previous world before the war everything was decided for me. And here it is the same. However, now the clan is behind me, and that is already something. Phew, it's time to get up, although I still have about 2.5 hours, I can drop in on the little ones in the quarter. Or rather, to one small splinter, Kohiri Uzumaki. I would probably be like her as a child if I had been taught Fuinjutsu in the past world. Kohiri is quite the experimenter, everyone suffers from her tricks, especially the clan's budget. But it doesn't matter, what a young talent is growing up. By the way, not just one. Yasu is clearly a future medic nin and support. She already has a good understanding of the structure of barriers, and can patch up small wounds and seal them. Her jet-propelled friend was, on the contrary, a fighter. And she also liked to weave FUNN into various objects. However, it is very interesting how such a mix showed talent. If Yasu is half Uzumaki, then Kohiri is only a quarter. Well, it's good that we don't have such stupid laws as the Hyuga. The barrier tickled her skin pleasantly. A pleasant chill passed through her body as usual, clearly letting her know that she had accepted blood. How convenient it is to be the official heiress, my blood gives you a pass anywhere. Having jumped to her destination, she knocked on the window 3 times. Harry was not sleeping, she was definitely finishing and thinking up something. The rather conveniently located tree did not provide full visibility, and besides, a special FUNN, invented by the owner of the room, was scratched on the window frames. As she said, this was her first development. The first successful one. A few minutes later the shutters clicked and the girl's face appeared. Kohiri's eyes were shining. Her whole appearance spoke of how glad she was to see me and wanted to tell me so much. However, the girl only waved her hand, telling me to follow her. Landing softly on the windowsill, I was met with a room mired in chaos. I understand the creative process and all that, I've been there many times myself, but you have to try really hard to clutter a room like that. There were various drawings hanging on the walls, piles of rolled up scrolls in the corners, and the table was littered with paper and ink. There was clearly a storage device on the nightstand. The room itself probably looks pretty normal. Peach wallpaper, parquet flooring, a bed, a nightstand, a wardrobe, and a desk, all of which were littered with paper. Well, it's cute. Ah, I'm Cha Yan. I'm so glad to see you, yes. I have so many new things, yes. Can you imagine? She waved her arms and nodded her head so cutely that I couldn't help but giggle. Nah, why are you laughing, huh? Kohiri stubbornly turned up her nose and pouted her lips, making it impossible not to laugh at this seriousness. Ooh, Naru Cha Yan. Well, Naru Cha Yan. Kami, how can you be so cute? That's it, Harry, I'm not laughing, I'm ready to listen to you, maybe he'll say something sensible. That's right, yes, so, I'm sitting here and then. Bam, an idea. Of course, I ran to draw it before I forgot. We went to the table, the girl took out the drawings and handed them to me. Look, this seal looks like a regular explosive seal, but there's a barrier set to genjutsu hidden inside. I don't have much chakra yet, but you should have enough, right? So, does she want me to test this brilliant development of hers? Well, we'll see. Okay, and where did you find out the structure of the barrier? Wow, a swindler, she was probably stealing scrolls from someone older again. My girl. Well, that, little sister Sari, yes. Exactly. I readily believe, especially considering that our main dealer of various equipment is now supervising the team with my brother. Yes, let's say I believed it. How, you say, does it work? Well, I haven't had such a brainstorming session for a long time. We only woke up when the alarm went off, or rather, at 8 in the morning. There's nothing quite like the awareness of the complete, gigantic Jubi-sized ass that's about to be achieved if someone doesn't speed up right now and get home before Menma gets into the room. A shiver ran through my body. Fuck, I got caught. Who knew there was a barrier here? And how come I didn't notice it when I left? You can't enter the house through the window. I bet there's definitely an alarm or something like that there. What should I do? Okay, calm down, are you an Anbu captain or what? That's right, where? What can I do? Try to hack the alarm. One option. Something else. I wonder if there's a FUNN around the house, or at key points where you can enter or exit. My parents still think that the limit of my abilities is chakra control and throwing kunai. But that's not true. I'll have to lift the veil of secrecy a little. Using the well-known sensorics, I feel the house and bingo. I can make a small opening and enter. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Now, the main thing is to find a place where I can make an entrance without being noticed. Sensor abilities, help me out. The passage was found in about 5 minutes. It was strange that no one came out of the house to look for me. Well, whatever. So, next to the wall that was least exposed to the light, there were some stomps on the floor. Having dug up the earth around the perimeter, a hatch appeared before my eyes. Obviously with some kind of blood seal. This is clear from the special recesses for blood. On each of them, our initials are marked in runes. Having bitten my finger, I pressed it with the wound to the door. With a drawn-out creak, the mechanisms inside clicked and the handle moved out. Not without effort, the door gave in. There is no particular fear of stairs leading to nowhere, so you can go. As soon as my foot touched the first step, the torches lit up at the bottom. It did not take long to go down, only 6 steps and voila. A long corridor with cabinets, obviously stuffed with something useful. In the lockers that I was able to open was 1010's paradise. Kunai, fishing lines, shurikens and everything. It seems that this is the most harmless. I'll take a little. By the way, I'll have to ask Shori-san to put a seal on my wrist. Otherwise, it's not right for a daimyo to carry a ryo in his hands. Then there was a similar climb and my way into the house. This door opened easier, so, we look around, phew, no one. Quietly, calmly, lighten our steps with chakra, there's just a little bit left, come on. Naruto, where have you been? Fuck, run rrroo. But it was not to be. Mom grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, like a naughty kitten, and I felt her anger with my whole being. The rest of the family came running to the sounds. Kushina, darling, what happened? Minato began, but was shut up by his mother's furious gaze. Yuichi and Menma were struggling behind him. Mom, I'll explain everything. I won't explain anything. Oh, yeah, you'll explain everything to me. Why yes, mommy. Just don't hit me. We moved to the living room, where they threw me on the couch. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if I found out that Kushina was Ibiki's student. 100% info. Well, we're waiting. Oh, Minato, go to Iwa. They've been waiting for you there. They've been sharpening the kunai especially. Yeah, totally yeah. Naruto. An open threat. As you wish, we will play by my rules. A theatrical sigh, a dreamy look, slightly lowered eyelashes, a small blush on the cheeks. Mom, I think I'm in love. A silent scene. The main thing is not to burst out laughing. What? Naruto, my dear, you could have said it right away, it's so important. My girl is already so grown up, what's his name? Phew, it worked. But I didn't think of that. Is it someone from the clan? Or, you liked one of the heirs? Mom, it's time for the kids to go to the academy. You don't want them to be late on the first day, do you? Help came from somewhere unexpected. Yuichiro, I owe you. Oh, that's right, you go, and Yuichi and I will come to the opening ceremony. Oh, like a weight off my chest. Damn, that was a dead giveaway. Out of habit, I thanked him and reported the dead in the Anbu language, which not only I shouldn't know, but Kakashi and I introduced it about a year later, after the Fourth World War. The changes aren't that significant, but they are different. I caught his surprised look and shamefully ran away from him to get my things. I'm worried about how it will all turn out. Are the teaching systems so different? Will I be the best student here? Sure, let Uchiha try hard to catch up with me. Says a girl who doesn't even know the technique. Smart, come on, Kurama, don't be a bore. The fox only chuckled at this. The academy building appeared in the distance. Well, hello, torture chamber, long time no see, I didn't miss you. Commentary on Chapter 10, Before the Academy, P.B. Bekino. Chapter 11, wow, so many people. Well, here comes the long-awaited moment. Academy, oh, well, in this world I should definitely be the best. Although, knowing the training of clan children here, my chances have noticeably decreased. But let's not lose hope, we got out of worse than this. The academy building was exactly the same as in my memories. We were early, so after entering, Menma immediately went to look for us in the large list that took up the entire wall. It seemed that there were more talented shinobi this year. Our room was number 4. It was located, in the southern wing, the second to last. So be it. Menma snorted slightly angrily behind me. Offended that the useless sister suddenly knew where to go. I can do much more. The audience was right there. There were already several people inside. Some clanless ones, apparently. My favorite place was not taken, so I hurried to take it. In principle, the very last desk by the window was advantageous in that you could quickly get out. And it would be a sin not to take advantage of that. Menma sat in front of me. After some time, more children began to flock in. Everything was so monotonous, and my body suddenly remembered the regular lack of sleep. My eyelids closed. The long-awaited sleep came. The body, purely on reflex, grabbed the troublemaker and twisted his arm. Ow, your leg, Naru, what Kyubi? Oh, it's Hinata. Yeah, well, there was no point in interrupting the dream, really, I don't remember it at all. Hina, I'm sorry, it was just reflexes, yes, it's true, it just happened. I'll keep that in mind, Piz. Ahem, that was very unexpected, and there was no trace left of the impudent girl who would tear anyone apart with her bare hands. Stop, she's looking somewhere behind her. It's standing behind me. I turn around and Sasori is my toy, is that Iruka-sensei? A tall guy was standing at the threshold. His hair was tied up in a bun on top, and the rest was shaved short. The scar in the Inuzuka-style leather jacket, the sly squint and grin made him look like a daring bandit. Fire. No wonder Hyuga was embarrassed. Well, a classic crush on a young teacher. Shinobi children grow up very quickly, huh? Naru Haim Cha Yan, hi, long time no see, Hina Cha Yan. Ino hung on my neck. Only with us she behaved like a simple girl. For everyone else, Haim-sama of one of the respected clans of Konoha. Yo, Ino, I see you're in a good mood. Well, it's because of the academy. I looked questioningly at Hyuga. It's just that no one leaves me alone at home, I can finally relax, then it's clear. After all, the tense relationship between the countries affects the training of clan children. I'm almost 100% sure that if it weren't for the experience from the past world, any clan child would roll me out in a thin layer. Because the control barely reaches what I had when I was 12. And that's really bad. Physical data, Probably, even Gaara is better, and he spent his entire childhood as a puny one. Only accuracy and FUNN. Although, even in this there are many limitations. While the chakra control is at this level, then anything more complex than a banal pouring of chakra into an already prepared seal of a certain type is not in the cards for me. But this is all poetry. Everyone took their seats. Uruka, who was just awesome here, started pouring out about the will of fire, the duty of a shinobi, and the like. Although it was interesting to listen to him, I was doing something more important, looking at my classmates. Over there, at the first desk in the middle, sat Sasuke and that Senju boy. I don't remember his name, but since he looks a lot like Granny Tsunade, we'll call him Suna. His light blonde hair was pinned up in front on both sides with invisible hairpins, and a low ponytail stuck out in the back. Brown eagle eyes, a straight nose, milky skin. A future handsome man. It's obvious that he focuses on his arms and body. Of course, you can't tell from the outside, but the fine lines of his muscles can't be hidden by any clothing. He was wearing a green vest with a fur collar and brown pants. The boy listened attentively to the teacher, which couldn't be said about Haruno, who was sitting behind Uchiha. Pink hair is carelessly cut and lies in chaotic horror. If Sakura had beautiful emerald eyes, then this slobs were swamp-colored. A dusty crimson t-shirt and beige shorts hung on Sakuto's body. And not because they bought him a size for growth, no, he simply stretched it out. Lord, and this miracle is yapping something about recognition. Even when he was a girl, he looked more like Haim. And I still have 6 more years to study with him. Kami, give me strength. The real cutie is Kurama, the red-haired boy with freckles. Damn, what was his name? Tisk. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Let's call it Dai. And why not? Orange is just right. A black sweatshirt and pants of the same color hid his entire body. It seems the boy doesn't like attention. Too bad he's attracted to this kind of look. It wasn't possible to examine anyone else in detail, since I had to go to the entrance ceremony. The relatives were standing a little further. The children lined up, and with such serious expressions, as if Dad was telling them something useful. He was saying the same thing as Old Man Third, so there was no point in listening to him. After, well, at least 30 minutes, Yondaime finished, wished us luck and took off with Hiraishin. The kids were spellbound, oohing and awing. Especially the clanless ones. This was new to them. Since we were standing by class, Yumino quickly found us in this crowd and led us to our classroom. It turned out that the one we were in at the beginning didn't matter. Classes E through D study there. Ranks are a separate story. There are several assessment criteria for getting into a particular class. The first is the amount of chakra, the second is clan, no clan, and the third appears during training. Academic performance. Depending on these factors, children are distributed into classes. E. Losers and future cannon fodder. D. Exactly the same, only they can be raised to field chunin. C. The highest level, chunin. B. Mostly talented clanless. A. Incredibly talented clanless and clan, capable of reaching junin. S. Future anbu or 100% junin. This class is a mystery. In my world, there was nothing like this. Oh well, now I'm in class A because I have a ton of chakra, and I'm the heiress. Somehow, we had already reached our new office. There were some papers on the tables, it was hard to see anything from this distance. We crowded at the entrance. Sensei stood in front of us. So, dear blockheads, as Hokage-sama said, now a new path begins for you, Tra Lala, and so on. But know that you can't joke around with me and I won't give you a break. There are papers with your names on the desks. Every season, you will change your seat. However, before that, if you sit in the wrong one, you can pack your things and get out of here. When you are seated, then I will continue. I will give you a minute. If you fail, blame yourself. He flashed a sweet smile that did not bode well and ran away. What a plagiarist. That's my style. The kids immediately started pushing, screaming and pushing each other in a panic. Wow, the kids' nerves are shot to hell. A fight broke out somewhere in the corner. The girls were tearing each other's hair out. I'm getting out of here. I noticed familiar faces on the ceiling. And a couple of new ones. But more on them later. Shika and Choji were hanging on ropes that Kiba had attached with hooks. The dog handler was holding on to the hooks themselves. Kurama was moving around with the help of a fishing line, making a net out of them. Shino was using bugs and flying on them. Besides me, Hinata was using chakra, holding Ino, Sasuke and Senju. Haruno showed the beginnings of intelligence and, pushing off from the walls, hooked himself onto the redhead's constructions and was crawling on them. Hey, fun, only these little Kids blew away the papers, mine was lying on the floor by the door. Having gone down and taken it, I went to the third desk in the middle, sat down and put the piece of paper down. That's how things are done. Only half of them realized this and were already sitting in their seats. The minute was over. Although, it clearly passed more, oh well. It was logical. Suddenly the lights went out. The new and recently built academy was aging before our eyes. The floor was sagging, as if it had been walked on since at least the founding of the village. The tables were dry and already starting to crumble. Suddenly it became so hot that my body slowly began to melt. What the hell? Arg, this can't be. Is this genjutsu? No, we're just kids, they shouldn't. Stop. A test. A mini exam, so to speak, a test for lice. Damn, this world has problems with illusions too. May Jubi bite you. Okay, we need to stop the chakra flow. It's slowly flowing through the channels, I can see it. 1, 2, 3. Kai. The world suddenly returned to its previous outlines. Some Anbu picked me up. Hey, put me down, you bastard. Dear sir, don't raise your hands. She looked at him with her most terrifying look of all and added Kurama's aura. With a quiet, ooh, the shinobi lowered me onto the desk. Oh, how he trembled, the poor thing, probably a newbie. A quiet cough attracted my attention. There were 18 of us left in the class. And there were children who weren't there before. So, now that only the best are left, I'll start over. My name is Yumino Aruka and I'm the homeroom teacher of Class S and your nightmare for the past 6 years. Well, we're fucked, comrades. So, how was your first day at the academy? Yeah, it was just great. Yeah, by the way, all the heirs got into the S class. Well, that's cool. There were also a few clan members, but not from the main branch, and 2 clanless ones. Everything was terrible super, and our cool guy is just a demon angel, Menma and I said at the same time. Don't repeat after me, I'm fucking sick of you. No, you're annoying. ARR, so, do they all have twins? It might look funny, but it's not true. Mom patted us on the head and called us to sit at the table. All of our family members were already there. Except for Yuki, but he's in our hearts. Hey. Minato had already returned, since the girls and I went to celebrate first and then to train, and I also went to the quarter. The boys are a year younger, and the girls are 2. So, we won't see each other as a group anytime soon. Today, my mom made katsudon. It's usually a very fatty food, but on the occasion of the holiday, all laws are cancelled. Yoo-hoo. You're in the same class, then? Yuichi asked. Yes, what, shouldn't they have? Father was listening. What, did he eat it? Ha ha ha, did you think I wouldn't be able to do it? Bad luck. Hey, well, no one expected this from you, Naruto. I thought you would get into Class E, but you were just lucky. Oh ho ho, Menma, so it turns out you're suicidal. Brother, aren't you proud of me? I tried so hard. The main thing is to say it with bated breath. And also make a sad look from the Sasuke-kun, I love you so much and will give you 100 children, series performed by Sakura. She grabbed his hand and pressed it to herself. That's it, pack it, the product is ready. The boy was rapidly blushing. When the boiling point reached its peak, Menma tore his hand out of my embrace with a squeak and shamefully ran away. I shouted something like, "Where are you going, little brother?" but I really tried not to laugh. As soon as the footsteps on the stairs died down and the door slammed, I burst out laughing and clutched my stomach, trying to calm down. Oh, Kami-sama, that was great. Ha, did you see his face? Ah ha ha, I'll never forget it. Oh, why are you looking at me like that? The rest of the family looked at me in shock, as if I were in. Right, that Naruto would never, I repeat, never do something like that. Fuck, that's obvious. Naruto. That was great. Yuichiro eased the tension and now they apparently remembered their brother's face and laughed. Under their belated, slightly hysterical laughter, I left. Already in the room, I thought that everything wasn't so bad and life was getting better. After all, it's not so bad here. Oh, Rakudo, you again with your half-philosophical thoughts. Go study, fool. Hey, you're right as always. FUNN won't test itself, and theory won't teach itself. And also, I need to pump up my control. And also, remember the names of my classmates. You're fucking annoying. Ugh, how rude. However, all my objections were swept away by Kurama's poisonous chakra. I'm running already. I'm running, Kurama. I wonder how Uchiha is doing. Commentary on Chapter 11. Wow, so many people. Well, I tried. I warn you in advance that I will have a lot of chapters with the Academy. A lot. A lot. And there's also twincest. Just kidding, just hints. And even then, in the form of jokes. Peas. Yes, I have a terrible sense of humor. P.B. Beckino. Chapter 12. Already. As one wise man, or not quite a man, and not quite wise, said, yes, Kurama, I'm talking about you, a good morning begins with meditation. But that's not true. A good morning begins at lunchtime. Of course, releasing the chakra and meditation is a very interesting activity, but not at 4 in the morning. Kurama, have a conscience. What do you mean there is none? Never mind, we'll find one. Naru, wake up. The sun is up. Yuichi suddenly burst into the room. I was so caught up in the conversation that I didn't notice him. Too bad. Meanwhile, Yuichiro realized that I was not in the bed, and I was in no hurry to speak up. Before he sees me, please help me with one thing. Oh, fuck, your leg. Naruto, what's wrong with you? Oh, I noticed. Imagine you go to see your little Jinchuriki sister, who recently came out of a coma, and you see that she has a huge head of the nine-tailed fox, whose terrifying power strikes fear into the whole world. Brother, something wrong. Is there something on my face? The main thing is not to laugh. Nah Naruto, she don't move. What? I literally didn't understand anything at all. Oh well, I need to remove the henge. As always, you're helping out, thank you. So I should probably get dressed. Pajamas are fine, but my parents or someone else will definitely come running in now. Can I go to the bathroom? Yeah, I can just hear what they're doing here, the neighboring walls. At least I'm lucky in that. As soon as I grabbed my clothes and was about to leave, the door opened as if it had been kicked open and several Konoha and Whirlpool Anbu flew in, as well as all the members of our family. Okay, these seals and half-finished techniques are making me a little nervous. Good afternoon. Mom, what's going on? Brother Yuichi ran off somewhere, is there something on my face? And the face is honest, with eyes full of incomprehension. And demonstratively ignoring Minato. Hey, because no way. Naru, do you feel anything? Just the cold. Because someone wearing an Anbu mask opened my window wide. And damn, it's cold. It's September. Well, if besides the cold, a smile full of love towards the shinobi. Then no, should I? He almost slipped out the window. Didn't expect that, damn. I'm a real lady. Oh, then, good morning, we'll be waiting for you in the kitchen. She waved her hand and disappeared behind the door. The others, apparently, realized that there was nothing more to catch, they left. And already from the bathroom, I could hear words that were pleasant to my heart. Or rather, how they scolded Yuichiro. Boo gaga, he will know better than to come in without knocking. Ignoramus. The dark fabric hugged the body tightly, yeah, like at a funeral, you still have to wrap your head with a black scarf and it's perfect. Otherwise, you can just put a hair clip on it so that the bangs don't get in the way. The relatives greeted each other. Menma suddenly flinched to the side. Kami, boy, are your nerves okay? She smiled sweetly and winked at him. Oh, how it made me shudder. I didn't really want to eat anything, so I only had tea. And toffee, and no, it won't stick together. I was quietly thinking about how I would spend this day, when Minato broke the silence. I hope everyone remembers that Naruto is getting engaged today. Naruto. What do you mean, engaged? Why didn't you warn me? And what's with that, warning me about some fucking important event during breakfast? Wait, don't tell me that Mom and Makoto-san weren't going shopping, but preparing for the ceremony. Bitch. Divine level attentiveness again. I'll get killed without even noticing. Arg, so what, is the little Uchiha going to be my betrothed? Tisk, okay, I'll get over it somehow, after all, he's not such an asshole here. The family members did not notice the cries of resistance from my side and looked in my direction with fear. So, Menma, you and your sister are going straight home after the academy. Well, you won't even be able to practice. Father was still looking expectantly. Are you waiting for a breakdown? No way. Although, the heavy chi of the nine-tailed demon fox and the cute little smile instantly resolved all disagreements. What an understanding family I have. Having thanked my mother for the food, I made a face full of adoration for Menma, said goodbye to Yuichi and my mother, and went to put on my shoes. My twin followed me. Dad was shocked by being ignored. That was a bust. The door slammed behind us. We walked the whole way in silence. What should I talk to him about? About the fact that I don't even have a gift for this Sharinganist. Oh my, we'll probably go to 2 temples, Both ours, the mask temple, and theirs, who knows which one. But what can I give? Maybe a trinket. Something useful. A ring isn't an option, and that's how it will be. So, I won't be able to sit in on lessons today. But I need to keep the clones. Menma, you won't be offended if I ditch you for a bit, will you? There's still a lot of time before the start anyway. Didn't notice. That's great. There was no one behind the building, and I could try to make a shadow clone with a clear conscience. Attempt number 1. And. Failed. Attempt number 2. This is loser Naruto, and this is attempt number 46. Yoo-hoo. And with this, the world record is broken. It was only on the 46th attempt that I managed to make a normal clone. More precisely, 15, but the extra ones can be easily dispelled. And now I need to apply the ready-made strengthening seal and that's it. A chakra impulse, and the clone will not dispel from simple blows. FUNN is a ray of light in the Dark Kingdom. Okay, now we can go. The clone headed towards the entrance, and I, to the quarter. I wonder when they'll start teaching me the clan style. It's not right for the heiress to know almost nothing of the clan's techniques. But the Uzumaki have so much. For example, kids younger than me already know so much. It's a shame, damn it. The quarter greeted me with the usual hum. Shinobi scurried here and there. Everyone was in a hurry. Like a beehive, only scarlet, crimson. The barrier was felt on the periphery of consciousness. Still, it felt like home to me. The kids were found in the same place as usual. On a playground covered by mighty trees, whose branches sheltered the children from the scorching sun, which was no longer so hot. Summer had passed, but autumn had not yet fully come into its own, which meant that the ideal time for an engagement had not passed. Ah, an engagement. No way. But who would listen to me? Heim's lot is hard, but it's not the time to be sad, it's time to strain our bright young minds. Someone has to come up with a worthy gift, right? Muhaha, everything is in my power. I landed softly in the middle of the field, attracting the attention of the children. They all said, "Oh oh oh, Haime-sama," in a discordant series of voices and waited with surprised faces for me to say something. Limiting myself to a single greeting, I waited for the main instigators to finally take charge and speak. Don't you have an academy? Why are you here? Akio began, as expected. Yes, why are you here, Haime-sama sister, yes. Kohiri joined in. The others were silent, apparently waiting for my further reaction. Well, of course it's nice that you care about my attendance, but right now it's not the most important thing. She winked and beckoned to her as if she was telling some secret to the children who had come up. You want to become a shinobi, right? The children nodded simultaneously. And shinobi carry out missions, and today, I order a special mission from you. A dramatic pause. Your task for today is to come up with a worthy gift for the heir of the Uchiha clan. But remember, this task is secret and very, very important. So, time has come. The little ones immediately caught fire with an unchildish desire and with fire in their eyes began to argue about what could be suitable. Phew, one problem less. So, this seems like a good idea. So, Takeshi, speak. 5 hours later the gift was ready. As trivial as it may be, a ring with a huge range of functions is a rather expensive gift, despite the fact that we will have them anyway. The metal ring shimmering with blue, purple, and light blue colors created the feeling of an endless sky. And the item itself was literally soaked in FUNN. The guys did a great job, well done. And they even stuck the Uzumaki coat of arms on the inside. Ha, now everyone will know who this boy belongs to. Ho ho ho, I feel like it will be fun. The clone hasn't dispersed yet, and besides, there's still time before the end of classes, I can still make it. Yes, I'll do that. The academy greeted me with astonishing silence. It's strange, in my world even during lessons there was such a hum that by the end of the day I just wanted to chop off my head. A mental impulse to the clone, a few seconds later the door opens and my copy comes out. With a soft pop she dispersed, smiling one last time. After waiting a couple of minutes, I went inside the office. The story. Interesting. However, what struck me most was how attentively the children listened to Iruka. He literally completely captured their consciousness. And they listened to the man with bated breath. Only the measured voice of the sensei broke the ringing silence. Word for word, I myself was drawn into this story, of course, after I looked through the memories from the clone. The sun was slowly setting. Classes ended. Menma stood quietly next to me. It was time to go. I hadn't seen Uchiha, I hadn't even said goodbye to my friends. I'll see you later. The journey was silent. It felt like everything was happening too fast. A red light was flashing in my head. Stop it. Too fast. Consciousness barely caught all the events. Everything happened in a chaotic, convulsive manner. Gasping for air, trying not to drown in the depths of problems that are becoming bigger and bigger. Everything is running and running. So fast, but you constantly think that you are standing in one place. So far from the main thing. The street was flooded with light. My heart ached. How unnaturally bright, so much so that my eyes involuntarily began to water. And there was only one thought in my head. This is the end. But no, not life. It's a long way off. Just a little bit more, and a special threshold will be overcome and it becomes so scary. Unbearable. Now I wanted to lie down and stay like that until my body dried up and dissipated, leaving my soul without a physical shell. How lousy. A low chuckle escaped, but he stayed there, at the academy walls, hopefully forever. The way they dressed me, primped me, did not remain in my memory. Only the oath that will bind me to Uchiha for the rest of my life. Ha! In sorrow and in joy. How ironic. The ring, made by mass efforts, warmed me. If it were possible, I would have kept it for myself. Dusk had fallen. The huge disk had almost disappeared behind the horizon. It turned away from the pathetic bugs in shame. That was its will. Only the powerful of this world have such a right. Never mind, my time will come too. I hope soon. The Uchiha delegation, as befits, appeared in all its gloomy well-being. There even stands the Uchiha Highness himself. His eyes are half closed, and glory to Kami, the Uchiha's eyes absorb light, and with them the souls of people. This clan was not called cursed for nothing. In this they are very similar to Uzumaki. It is strange that this union happened so late. It's time. Sasuke approached me and extended his hand. I nodded and took it. A couple of Uzumaki in ritual robes approached us. They would be the ones to conduct the engagement ceremony at the Uzumaki Mask Temple. The Uchiha were not allowed there. An ominous building appeared. The temple remained the same as it had been since our last meeting. Penetrating. Ancient. There was no wind, but the characteristic whistle was pressing on the psyche. Worthy or not, but it did not touch the boy. Not a single muscle of the face trembled. Only chakra, scorching hot, was released from the surrealistically fragile body of the brunette. The sound stopped. The heartbeat was accompanied by a loud hoot. The founder gave his answer. For some reason, I am absolutely sure that it was him. In the shadows, I seem to see a familiar grin and the clanking of chains. Altar. How many more secrets are hidden by those who are called Scarlet Demons? This clan frightened and inspired horror. Mesmerized by the candle flame, I missed almost the entire ceremony. My body automatically gave out the words I had learned by heart, as if they were written into the cortex of my consciousness. The ring was silently handed to the groom. A serious look from darkened eyes. A barely noticeable nod. Got it, smart boy. The Uchiha Temple remains. Naka Temple. Almost nothing is known about it. However, they brought us here. Traditionally, two people accompanied us, this time, Uchiha. Behind the Naka River stood the temple, hidden from everyone. An ignorant person would simply miss it. A special kind of genjutsu. My foot had just stepped on the floor, and the pressure that appeared literally out of nowhere was breaking my body. Chakra was opening in the hearth. Surprisingly, mine was cold, like a mountain stream. As if I was somewhere in heaven. So unfamiliar. My eyes were covered with a veil. Gray, black outlines did not allow me to see almost anything. I only heard the measured breathing of the person standing next to me, who was like the only straw keeping me from falling. The huge slab that did not allow a single step disappeared. The oath was spoken. A ring was placed in the hand. Laughter rang out like a cheerful bell among the cold walls. The heavy knot, which had become tighter and tighter over time, suddenly disappeared. I stopped following the situation a long time ago. Why, all that's left is to accept congratulations. I can't wait to get home. After dusk, they gathered in the main house of the Uzumaki clan. The newlyweds were congratulated, and they accepted the gifts with sweet smiles. They both resembled each other in some way. Yes, exactly, the same glassy gaze. After the official events, the heroes of the occasion were sent to rest. In different rooms, of course. However, each occupied the thoughts of the other. The red-haired girl smiled and clutched a ring identical to hers. She doesn't know yet that there are hidden writings on it, similar to her creation. The difference was in the inscriptions. Indra and Ashura, they said. But it's not time for them to know yet. Everything is still ahead. Commentary on Chapter 12. Already. It seems to me that it is getting worse and worse. I put the maximum amount of effort into this chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. P. B. Bekino. Chapter 13. Sasuke-kun. Sasuke-kun. Sit with me. Not with her, but with me. Kami-sama, at least something hasn't changed. It's strange, but on the third day of training, my fiancé has already become popular and adored by the female part of the students. No, what kind of fluids does he spread? Or is it their special Uchiha scent, transmitted only in the main branch, because there was no such excitement for other representatives of the big-eyed clan? And this male calmly walks, basking in the rays of glory. Show off. And you know what's most important? That when we have combined classes, the rule about separate places is cancelled. And now, we have exactly such a lesson. I don't understand why they combine S class and B, but it's not for me to judge. So wait, what Jubi? I don't want to be torn apart by a bunch of rabid fangirls. Uchiha, I try with all my might to show my displeasure through my gaze. Uzumaki, laconically. Just don't give me that questioning look. I can feel your gloating. Uchiha, get out of here while I'm still nice, okay? Hinata swings her hand and hits the table. Ha, if she were taller, she would definitely use her leg. Hinata Haim, I don't see any significant reasons why I can move away from my fiancé, a silent scene. Kurama, in my will I leave my body to you. Brides. And he rejoices, the bastard, laughs in his soul, although it doesn't show on his face. Wait, why am I so sure? Ah, that's not what I need to worry about now. Goosebumps ran across my body. Those hateful looks. Just like in that world. Hey, and again Sasuke was the reason, well, not always, but he also played a significant role. Heh, ahem, good joke, Uchiha. Girls, why don't you talk about how great Sasuke Kuyuun's humor is? Yeah, really great. Well, even though I've brainwashed them with this incredible information about a certain Sharingan idol, but it won't last long. Sakura said something about long hair. Now, take your seats, quickly. Hyuga quickly sat down next to Uchiha. After all, arguing with teachers is not worth it. And everyone else instantly turned white. They were trained well in class. What a stern teacher they have. Now, Kovai-sensei, don't scare my children, they are obedient, right, guys? And a powerful wave of ki sweeps away the careless students. Well, as sweeps away, at least everyone immediately straightened up like strings. And Yumino is happy. Some seem to be on the verge of fainting, others have more gray hair. And all this at the age of 6. And Yumino is happy. At these stages of development, we were only told banal things, what a chakra is, what it is for, what types there are, and so on. So, class, homework check, finally something interesting. After all, Sakura-chan literally pounded this knowledge into me, so I was bored. And these checks were quite exciting, yes. Haruno, tell me everything you know about the chakra circulation system. What are you going to show me? I hope you're not such a slob. The chakra circulation system, or Kirakuke, is a system of chakra channels. Chakra flows through the channels, and special nodes, tenketsu, help control it. There are 361 of them. There are 8 special tenketsu, also called the 8 gates. They control the functions of the body and regulate its tension level. Whoa, easy there. It looks like his mother's heavy hand did its job. Well, it's better for him. And I wouldn't want to change the team. And I've long decided that Uchiha, Haruno and I will be on the same team. Good, I even learned some additional information. Sit down, Iruka noted something in the journal and threw a senbon at Sakuto. Alas, it was beyond his powers to catch, but it was just right for me. The fishing line pulled the weapon to herself. Mew ha ha, forgive me, guys, but if you want to live, you have to be able to spin. And these kids didn't even notice how I swapped the teacher's senbon for my own. Future shinobi flocked to the supposed landing site. And then the carnage began. The kids hit each other, shoved each other, some even used weak techniques. And Yumino is happy. Kovai-sensei quietly continued the lesson. Iruka, noticing the senbon I had secretly shown him, made another note. By the way, there is a slightly different evaluation system here. Shuriken, kunai and senbon. Shurikens were thrown from 1 to 2 pieces, which means that the information is familiar, but not learned. Kunai, everything that was in class. Senbon, extracurricular reading. They all have some distinctive feature. So it will not be possible to cheat. All this is put into a special box after the school day. This means that anyone can take it away during the day. Therefore, I tried to do everything as discreetly as possible. But only, trusted, people caught me. At least they are unlikely to attack. After all, scarlet-haired people were not called demons for their pretty eyes, although, Personally, I only have hair and chakra. But that's for now. As for the execution for homework, or rather, for not doing it, they punish in a very strange way. The guilty one stands on his hands for the entire lesson, or hangs if he can't, and if he doesn't have notes written down in his notebook, then another lesson is added, then a break. Cruel, yes, but this is not a game. This is not a peaceful time, which means the requirements are higher. During the war, ranks were falling, I know from my own experience. After all this mess, I was transformed from a genin into a junin of the SSS rank. She turned her head purely on reflex. Wow, a little more in the ear would have had to be sewn back. Uzumaki, don't sleep. Hey, usually we just throw crayons. Sorry. She smiled guiltily. Although I don't feel any regret. Someone chuckled nearby. Why is he always chuckling? Okay, that's his right. Better to really listen. As a last resort, I'll pretend. No matter what anyone says, I like this academy more and more. And especially this huge difference between the kids. Take Haruno. At first glance, he's a slacker, but once he's memorized the topic, everyone else will just pick their jaws up off the floor. The second group believes that the life of a shinobi is a game in which you're the winner, and there's no risk of death at all. And these are the ones who are sent into the field, and they stay there. That's how it is. Well, thank you all for the lesson. You can go to recess. The brunette clapped his hands, spreading a wave of murder lust, which served as a trigger, and the children, like ghosts, headed for the exit in civilized squads. They are in the process of developing psychological trauma. And Yumino is still happy. I also hurried to blend into the crowd and not give myself away. Although, I'm cheating a little. No one will be able to get anything from me from the seal. It's a pity that Shori-san is still on a mission, the seal on the body is much more profitable. We have a big break now, which means I can go to the roof, and there I'll meet everyone else. The temporary shelter greeted me with a sunlit area and a light breeze. Somewhere below, children were screaming. So far, no one I knew was there. Looking at the clouds, I really begin to understand Shikamaru. For some reason, watching these fluffy clouds, peace formed in my soul, and all my problems evaporated. My head became extremely light and an unusual clarity of thought appeared. But sooner or later, everything comes to an end. As did my serenity. Uzumaki Naruto, would you be so kind as to explain why some kid became your boyfriend, and I found out about it by accident, and from his lips, not yours. Hinata's head hung over her face. And apparently, my boyfriend is standing there, as Hyuga put it, pointing her finger somewhere to the side. Having slightly tensed up, I noticed several more chakra centers, inexorably quickly approaching here. Ahem, first of all, he's not my boyfriend, just my fiancé, Uchiha choked on. Just, and a wave of sarcasm came from his side. Secondly, I found out about the engagement myself yesterday. And you yourself should have known, your clan officially congratulated us. And no one bothered to warn you. That's all. Hyuga also choked on her prepared tirade, and looked with such lively indignation that she involuntarily reminded me of myself as a child. Meanwhile, the rest of the company had already reached our shelter. As I see, our little Naruto is already quite grown up, huh? Shikamaru grinned. He had to stand up, it was impolite after all. Oddly enough, in this world, the clan heirs stuck together like a mountain. There was a clear line between the peculiar elite and the rest. As I understand it, we all turned out to be unworthy of Uzumaki Hime-sama's hand. Shika, shut up. Menma slowly began to boil. Kami-sama, Shikamaru, did Haruno bite you? By the way, he's the only one not here. Coincidence? I don't think so. Still, even Kurama and Senju are here. Ha, okay, I'm just kidding. How do you like the class and their teacher? The difficult topic is over, we can just chat. After the academy, Hinata, Ino and I went for a walk. The girls wanted to show off their favorite sweets place, the Akamichi clan. After all, they are the main ones in this business, so not trying their food in your free time would be a sin. During our cheerful conversations we reached a nice cafe. For some reason, only shinobi were sitting inside. Where are the civilians? It's strange, did Konoha really have specialized enterprises only for combat units? It's strange, I didn't notice that. Because you only went to Ichiraku. So what? Ichiraku was delicious, but I wasn't allowed to go to other places. Well, you know, many shinobi need a lot of calories, which means that regular portions aren't very suitable for us. And to get full, you need to spend more money. So, One of Choji's relatives came up with the idea of creating a business just for shinobi, something like that. With all these explanations, we had already managed to sit down at a table by the window. Ah, well then, that's quite logical. What to order? Ino wanted mochi for herself, and Hina stubbornly insisted on the magnificence of dumplings. My choice fell on dango. Dango. They're not bad here either, of course, but the Uchiha clan dango restaurant is still cooler, although they give you free senbon here, a cool gimmick, serving dango pierced with senbon. Basically, you eat and update your inventory, a pretty good marketing move. And besides, it teaches accuracy and attentiveness, a triple plus. I want to shake the hand of the person who came up with this whole system. After a while, our order was brought to us. A calm and peaceful meal began, such as shinobi rarely have. Life, it seems, is not such a terrible thing. Somewhere in Konoha, Uchiha Sasuke sneezed. The long bamboo pole hit my fingers painfully. It's still crooked. With such a level of calligraphy a 2-year-old would beat you, the uncle chuckled at his own phrase. Well, yes, clan members start training at 3 years old, and now he started talking about 2 years, it's even more offensive. Well, I'm trying. The damn ink was constantly either spreading or thicker than it should have been. Straight lines were completely impossible. What can I say about the simplest FUNN ligature, if I can't even write the basic symbols properly? Then you're not trying hard enough. Come on, you'll sit there until your nose bleeds, I howled quietly. No matter what anyone says, to become a FUNN master, you need to think like an Uzumaki. As children, we have a lot of problems with reading and writing, since we can distinguish the meanings of words. That is, one symbol has 10 meanings, for an Uzumaki, and 3, for an ordinary person. That's to put it crudely. Personally, I cannot build a chain of signs, but rewrite them, that is, add or remove. In short, I'm a hacker. I hope that someday I will be able to set basic barriers and a seal with one touch. That would be cool. In the end, it is important now to learn the so-called alphabet of Fuinjutsu, so that later one can experiment calmly. It is a pity that this is still a dream. Today's lessons were over, it was time to go home. I still had homework to do. Naruto Hime, hello. What are you doing alone so late? Oh Kami, isn't he tired of it? I dance and sing, can't you tell by looking at me? Oh, that's kind of rude. Although, I'm not in the best condition right now, really. Tousled hair, dirty, wrinkled clothes. Even torn in places. A chuckle was heard from the side. Aha, forgive my stupid brother, Naruto Hime, he doesn't know how to talk to girls at all. Oh Kami-sama, is this Shunshin no Shisui? It's okay, everything's fine, I got a little angry, how I wanted to meet him, one of the most brilliant shinobi in the world. By the way, my name is Uchiha Shisui. At your service. Nice to meet you. Yay. Oh, after all, this is where things went differently. Both ways, and you, as I understand, are on duty, yes. We slowly headed towards the Uzumaki Namikaze residence. It was already quite dark, it was clear why they called out to me. Konoha is not a utopian state, there are all sorts of seedy areas here. Yes, after all, the motherland calls. In the meantime, we approached the entrance. Well, thank you for seeing me off. It was very nice to meet you, Shisui-san. Good night. Likewise, same to you. Let's go, Itachi. The younger Uchiha nodded convulsively at me and gave me a strange look. What could that mean? Yeah. As soon as they disappeared, I went into the house. I didn't feel like eating at all. So, after throwing my greetings to my mother and saying that I didn't want to eat, I went up to my room. Another day is over. You know that's not true, right? Arg, Kurama, don't ruin the fun. I don't know anything. Well, go train, or don't you want to become stronger and fulfill your duty? Yes, I'm coming, Captain. A shiver of satisfaction ran through my body. But these are not my emotions. Is it possible that after the engagement I can hear Sasuke's feelings? Why not? This isn't bad at all. Commentary on Chapter 13. Oh my, please forgive me for such a huge delay. The chapter was very difficult to write. Really very. But I managed. By the way, I missed one character, and many of you will say, IKNEED. Ahem, that's the main news. I still have a question, should the training at the academy be long, or should it all be consolidated somehow compactly? Now that's all for sure. Thanks for watching. P.B. Bekino. Chapter 14. This definitely didn't happen in my academy. My hands habitually grasp the handle of a simple katana. I look for my opponent, It seemed that the whole world had gone silent, and I myself had turned into hearing. Sensorics allow me to feel the area within a radius of 30 meters. Blood boils in my veins, excitement spreads through my veins. The pulsation of my chakra goes in rhythm with my heart. The hunter went out hunting. Where are you? This time I have enough strength and experience to win. I jump from tree to tree. Crack. We exchange weapons. A wide ligature of FUNN spreads across the tree. Now you can't escape. Target at 5 o'clock, 15 meters. Several clones are approaching from all sides. A blow, another one. A cut and a replacement. The shurikens have dug into the log. I turn sharply, and the time from the paralyzing E-class FUNN is enough for me to outline the area of damage with a katana. Okay, you win. I give in. Toshi-sensei raised his hands up in a conciliatory gesture. Oh, yes, I did it. It was quite difficult to defeat this impudent fellow, but I still managed. It's been only a month since I started training in the clan and at the academy, and, albeit with a creak, but the control has improved and has become almost the same as that of an average clan child. Which is good. Also, I have almost learned all the basic FUNN of Class E and am gradually considering I am holding on to the top 5 in the academy. I could, of course, become the best, but what is this hassle for? In the senior class we can think about it, but for now, training and, once again, training. In addition, Sasuke and I have strengthened the connection, and now we can mentally convey words to each other. The highest level would be the ability to show the world through our eyes, but we are still very far from that. It turned out that we managed to fulfill some point, and in order to get used to each other better, such a function was invented. FUNN dexterity and no cheating. But it's time to get back to the important stuff. Now I need to go home, get myself in order and run to the academy. Iruka-sensei doesn't tolerate being late. Yukine returned from the mission quite recently. The situation was resolved relatively peacefully, but the tension did not subside, but on the contrary, increased. Shori-san made a seal in the form of black diamonds on my wrists. It looks quite impressive. Home sweet home. You've become somewhat like family to me lately. Yes, my relationship with my family is still not so good. Mom and Yuichi love me and even train me. As for Menma, I'm neutral. But with Yuki and Minato, there are difficulties. Dad still can't accept it, and Yuki is quite sarcastic, and there's nothing you can do about it, but I won't be Uzumaki Naruto if I don't try. In such a short time, Yukine's dark t-shirt and pants became so dear to me that all my brother's demands for the return of the property were brazenly ignored. Well, so what? Does he feel sorry for ordinary pants? I don't think so. By the way, the problem with hair has also been solved. It turned out that Yuichiro just gets off on braiding different types of hairstyles. That's why he grows his hair. So, my older brother is my personal hairdresser. Breakfast goes as usual. Mom is chirping something together with Yuichiro, and we eat calmly and, when necessary, coo. It's beautiful. We exchanged insignificant phrases before the academy, where we then split into groups. I managed to summarize the entire class, but the clanless kids did not want to make contact at all. They probably need more time to adapt. Well, good riddance to them. Only the chance of survival in the future war, and I know that the Fourth World War will be here. Still, those bookmarks and seals do not give me peace. Well, it cannot be that a child of such a class could easily be hung with all sorts of nastiness. And even if Naruto was long ago given up on, but not everyone. One of the strongest Junin of Konoha and Haim of the Uzumaki clan did not notice this. Yes, I will believe that every Uchiha has a pink kimono with kittens more than this. Really, fantastic. Oh, come on, it's happened. You finally started thinking with your head and noticed this inconsistency. I thought you'd completely atrophied your brain. Oh, you know perfectly well that the situation wasn't conducive to long-term thinking. Oh, keep making excuses, but I advise you to listen to Yumino, otherwise the world will be short of one red-haired savior. Indeed, Iruka-sensei had already entered the classroom, and it would be better to pay attention. So, class, today is exactly a month since you entered the academy. For those who don't know, it's already the 1st of October, so it's time for a RAAA ally testing of your feeble abilities. And as far as you know, what is the most important thing in the work of a shinobi? Right, teamwork, isn't that right, Sakuto-kun? Why yes, sensei, that's right, why yes, sensei. Haha, there was one incident related to Haruno. He was somehow ranting in the hallway about how he didn't need teammates, and our enterprising sensei heard it, who took the careless student away in an unknown direction. After that, the boy suspiciously fell silent and started stuttering. And this test, in my world this happened, only it happened in April. And here it happens every month. Probably, this is done in order to see the progress of this or that child. Smart, let's be honest. It seems that Minato is stupid only in raising his children. And even in this he can be understood. All the time he had one tactic, and it worked on the older ones, but then a girl appeared. Rescue signals in his head. It's a girl. Oh, fuck it, it worked for 3, it will work for 1. It didn't work. This is what happened. And Yumino continued. So what am I getting at, you thought? So, my little killers, well, or, killer-like ones, this will be a team competition. We have selected them so that your team will include those with whom you or your abilities do not interact well. There is a list of teams on the table. When you figure it out, go out to the training ground. And I'm leaving, said Yumino and disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Oh, and I'll give you another piece of advice. Deal with the host. Bye. That's definitely it now. Oh, how hard it is here. All sorts of innovations, and I wanted to suffer through nonsense. But alas and ah. The first to approach the table was the notorious and long-suffering hysteric. Haruno, to be more precise. He stood there with an impassive face for about a minute, and then, with a squeal, began to shout about injustice and some crazy sadists who would try to kill at the first opportunity. Strange doubts began to creep into my wild little head. Could it be that? Hey, you, what's your name? Chise Kuromaku, come here. And you, crazy Uzumaki, move your rake. Why, Kami, why? What did I do wrong? Arg, if I can somehow come to an agreement with this Chise, then this ghoul can only be forced. And even then, by force. But the boy suddenly stopped stuttering. What miracles. Meanwhile, everyone had already started to gather in groups, and Chise and I also joined our temporary teammate. As for Kuromaku, he is a dark horse like Shino. Dark purple hair covers half of his face, a high-necked t-shirt clings to his chin, something like Captain Yamato wore. In his ear is an earphone with a metal microphone. The clothes are dark in color, reminiscent of the robes that are typical for Suna. The most prominent thing is his rather large reddish nose, however, his face, as far as can be seen, is pleasant. So, Iruka-sensei told us to decide on a presenter, or rather, a leader. I think this issue can be resolved by voting, do you agree? Apparently yes, since there was no protest from my teammates. Well, that's great. Who votes for Haruno? Okay. Not a single hand, yours doesn't count, Sakuto. Who votes for Kuromaku-kun? Kuromaku-kun, no offense. Anyone want to vote for Naruto Uzumaki? Oh, I appreciate it. Okay. By common decision, I become captain. The pink-haired man kicked, moaned, stamped his foot, and finally exhaled. Apparently, he wanted to disagree, but quickly realized that there was nothing to oppose. Ha, okay, still, somewhere in his soul he understands that this was the best choice. I think the challenge will be a task involving obstacles and teamwork. And in order to use your abilities well, you need to talk about them in more detail. Who will start? The first was, of course, Haruno. In principle, it was expected. Ninjutsu at a basic level, even a little lower, average hearth, good control and excellent taijutsu. Also, he is well versed in poisons, but in this situation, it will not help much. Chise has a decent chakra pool for a clanless person, sufficient control and awesome concealment skills. According to him, he is more good at long-range combat, and not bad at genjutsu. He also actively uses fishing lines. Well, it's not that bad. The team is strong, it seems like they'll listen. I hope. As for the formation, I'll be the first. We don't have Hyuga with their wonderful eyes, so my puny sensory abilities will help. Then, you'll go, Sakuto, as the main force. And Kuromaku-kun will close, as an insurer. It will probably be something like a training ground with traps, where teamwork is more important than ever. This is what Iruka-sensei was hinting at. Yes, Naruto-chan, you think correctly. Yumino nodded in agreement with his words, and how did it appear so unexpectedly? And please put away your knife, it unpleasantly cools the skin of my stomach. What? When? Well, thanks to Toshi, now my body reacts faster than my brain. On the one hand, it's good, but on the other, not so much. That's better. Ahem, as our very clever Haim said, you will go through an obstacle course, however, anyone can just go through it, but with a fragile tea set straight from the venerable Hyuga clan, not everyone. Well, now my colleagues will show you the way and explain everything. Good luck. Having finished his speech, the teacher disappeared in a whirlwind of shunshin. I wonder if he will ever get tired of dramatically leaving after each line. Who knows, we'll live and see. A certain Anbu approached our friendly squad Naru Saku Chis, either in a hamster mask or a cat mask, it doesn't matter. Let him be the fox. Follow me. No hello, no how are you, what kind of attitude is this? Sue, we'll fix this. Arctic Fox San. I am Martin. So, Pessit San, it must be hard for you, huh? A sympathetic look, like Anbu, but they chase you around like a genin who just graduated from the academy. Poor Pessit San, his shock can be felt behind the mask. Dash ellipsis. Oh, are you really ashamed of your weakness? No need, it's not your fault that you're untalented. An eyebrow joined the eye that was already twitching under the mask. Okay, maybe I'll train you when I'm free, but I'm not sure. It looks like he has facial paralysis, but the poor guy didn't understand this, and with the persistence of a ram twitches his face in an attempt to portray facial expressions. Well, how else to describe these convulsions running through his entire body? You're embarrassing me, you don't have to thank me, she winked at him conspiratorially. Well, I hope that the fox won't appear in my life again, at least not often. While I was delighting the world with my terrible jokes, I didn't notice how we ran to the training ground. Having scanned the area, I can say for sure that the fox, yeah, that's it. And the most important thing is that the traps that I can notice are just the tip of the iceberg. Although, it's unlikely that they'll spend such resources on some pathetic academy students. They'd be better off training the Anbu. Everyone is in place, so we should begin. As you may have noticed, we are now in a special area. And your task will be directly related to the obstacles located here. Listen carefully. I won't repeat myself. Your goal is that table. The sensei, who had once again shamelessly fallen out of thin air, pointed somewhere to the end of the training ground. Your whole team must bring the tea set with crystal beads. There will be room for 3 on the table, but the number of crystals is important, not what kind of vessel you brought, understand? Well, I don't care whether you understand or not, I just asked. About the rules. The only thing you can't do is interact with other people's tea set items already standing by the table. Get ready. I'll give you 10 minutes, time has started. The brunette clapped his hands at the end. My young slaves. Teammates came up to me. Well, basically the same idea, but look around more often, because some will try to knock us down before we reach the table. Remember, constant vigilance. We must pray that we are not killed prematurely. The life of a shinobi is hard. Oh, how hard. 10 minutes later we were positioned at the makeshift launch pads. The signal was supposed to sound in about a minute. I was shaking slightly with anticipation. The children were clearly nervous. Yes, they were strong, of course, but still children. Ready EEE, and on the count of 3. 1, 2 and EE3. The children jumped up. Okay, let's start the show. The chakra is pulsating rhythmically, all the senses are strained to the limit. There are 3 obstacles ahead, but they are concentrated on a certain area, so we go around to the left in the direction of 8 o'clock. Both nodded. There is no need to worry about the jug, no one forbade hiding it in the seal. What do you mean dishonest? I don't know anything. There's no one in sight yet, but who knows, maybe someone will show up. Banzai. Mew ha ha ha. What are you doing there, you fools? Mother. The treacherous Hyuga literally flew out from behind the trees. Oh, Naru-chan, hello and goodbye. The hinata here would definitely give me a stroke. Yeah, hi. The girls' teammates ran after us, throwing a couple of shurikens at us, and then disappeared. You have crazy friends, Uzumaki. I think so too, Haruno. The rest of the journey was quite calm, not counting Sakuto's futile attempts to die. Trying to show off, the boy fell into banal traps, but the only thing it gave was a loss of time and the pink-haired boy's hurt self-esteem. Well, that's just for the record. When we got there, 2 cups were already standing. As expected from teams with Uchiha and Senju, yeah. This time we were lucky, but will this luck continue? The life of a shinobi is hard. When all the teams reached the finish line, Iruka-sensei and company started counting the number of crystals. It turned out that the 3 of us had the maximum number of Ps, since in one case the seals rule, in another, Senju, and in the third, Sasuke. That's the end of the story. Well, you know the names of the winners who were released from the mission, and from everyone else I expect a report on the usefulness of teamwork and the effectiveness of the formation. That's all, bye-bye. Fuck, he's sick of evaporating. Arg, give me back my previous body, I want it back. Brr, I immediately felt like Orochimaru. Such a pleasure, you know. And now home, finally. Menma caught up with me later and stubbornly kept silent, pretending that I didn't exist. Well, his team lost, he. There was no more strength left for anything, so, leaving my brother to be torn apart by his relatives, I quietly took off. My crib, my dear, my beloved. Everything hurts so much, oh how it hurts. I don't need your complaints, just lie down for a couple of minutes and then run and train. Otherwise you'll die without even becoming a shinobi. Well, Karamushka, my dear, maybe today isn't necessary. Be patient, shinobi, you will be Hokage, nothing works on you, boogeyman. My journey is just beginning, I need to make sure it doesn't end too quickly. Good job, a quiet voice flashed in her subconscious. You're not bad either, he reflected. Today, they both fell asleep with smiles on their faces. And they will fall asleep like this many times, but in the same bed. We just have to live to see that happen. Commentary on Chapter 14. This definitely didn't happen in my academy. I'm very sorry for such a long absence, exams are just evil. And for now I only had enough time for this. Thank you for still reading. P.B. Bekino. Special. Birthday. The morning started well. My betrothed congratulated me on waking up, setting a personal record in our relationship, 4 words said in one go. Growing. Ku pleased me with the improvement of his body, or rather, simply recounted the progress, although I will not become a strongman like in my past life. But let's get back to the main thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's October 10th, which means. It means nothing. Previously, I had to lie low during these days, but now, even though Kurama is officially inside me, none of the residents know about it. And the story with all this is rather dreary. Still, as I understand it, Kushina gave birth in Uzushio. In a room completely wrapped in FUNN, and I, that is, Naruto, that is, the one who was born here, was born before Menma. The seal, loosened by the previous birth, gave way, and none of those present could hold the fox inside themselves, since they were already of age. Minato was not present so as not to attract attention. And what? Kushina missed her relatives and went to her native land. The perfect excuse. And now the most important reason for such an attitude towards the little girl is announced. These idiots, and there's no other way to call them, for some reason decided that a demon, forgive me, Ku, enslaved the girl's consciousness, and in order not to teach the enemy, they paid the least attention to her. As a result, they got a withdrawn girl trying to independently improve control and show her parents that she is also capable of something. But, the lack of some memories really scares me. Oh well, today is a special day, so you don't have to worry about it. With that attitude, you'll never know the truth. Come on, let me have some fun. I'll give it to you, but then I'll have fun alone, during the reincarnation, yeah, thanks. Well, there you go again, Kurama, you've ruined the whole mood. Well, I'll go eat something instead. I didn't manage to eat. As soon as the door from my room opened, 2 hurricanes, or more precisely, my mother and older brother, with all their love, clung to my mortal body from both sides. It became harder to breathe. Happy birthday. I wonder if they congratulated Menma as well. I'd like to see that. And death, if you don't let me go now, they quickly apologized and ran off, each in their own direction. After that, they could go to the kitchen with a clear conscience, after all the morning procedures. The kitchen greeted me with silence, and then with a loud scream. It seemed that the twin had entered at the same time as me. Come on, sit down quickly, eat, and all the presents later. My brother and I quickly sat down at our places and began to eat. Kushina began to feel nostalgic. Perhaps, it was only for such moments with family that it was worth coming here. As if by magic, everyone forgot their differences and just talked, reminisced, joked. Even the eternally gloomy Minato and Yukine smiled. Tiredly, crookedly, but sincerely. And Menma did not look like a pompous turkey, but just a cheerful child. And tomorrow we are going to kill. It was this thought that darkened my thoughts. But no, today we can do without it. Today, I am only 6 years old, and I have a close-knit family. Well, relatively. Since today is Sunday, there is no need to go to the academy, but there are other things that require intervention. My clan children have been left without attention for quite a long time, which is not good, so we politely say goodbye and run to the quarter. The Uzumaki greeted me with congratulations, and the kids chipped in for an A-rank scroll that sealed techniques. I'll bet my hand that Shori-san helped them with this, but it was still nice. On the occasion of our holiday with Menma, there will be a sort of party at the clan mansion. Of course, we'll have to observe etiquette, but after the official part, the children will be left alone, and there we can have a good time. In the meantime, we can't leave the children unattended. Right from the morning of October 10th, Itachi went crazy. I believed in my brother's incomprehensible dependence, but really, it wasn't worth digging through the entire clan archive in search of some law that would allow him to delay my wedding with Naruto. And he found one. However, I categorically didn't want to give in to Uzumaki to anyone. When I was 5, my memories returned. I don't know what it was, a memory of a past life or something else. But Uzumaki Naruto was there too. Although, she was not herself at all, and the story of the sunny boy Jinchuriki was radically different. Even though we were on different sides of the barricades. And when a clear mind and consciousness returned to my current body, I decided to find and take a closer look at the local Naruto. Apparently, it was a parallel world or something like that. Our meeting took place on one of the walks. After all the sensations, the brain needed to clear its head. The girl was completely alone. Scarlet hair, gathered on the top of her head in 2 ponytails, followed its owner, like 2 fiery tails. It seemed that the girl was excited, and I was intrigued. Everyone in the clan said that the daughter of the Yondaime was weak and worthless, and completely unsuited to anything. There were versions about feeble-mindedness, but Uzumaki did not look like that. She ran into the forest, and I was a shadow behind her. The road was unfamiliar, but Naruto was like a fish in water. Finally, a hut appeared from afar. The little girl made her way inside without any obstacles, and sat down in the center of the room. All I could do was watch from the window. At first there was nothing, and then, an overwhelming and huge amount of chakra literally covered me. The air cracked from tension, golden threads began to appear from behind the girl, and then a grimace of pain appeared on the child's face. It literally cracked, torn apart from the inside. Blood splashed onto the floor, and a piercing scream was heard in the surrounding area. A demon, a real demon, was looking straight at me from the depths of her crimson, blood-red eyes with vertical pupils. I don't know whose voice was louder, the tomo in the irises began to spin. The yokai disappeared. So did I. A minute later, Uzumaki Naruto was found in an abandoned house in serious condition. The final diagnosis was a coma. Almost 2 years later, she woke up as a different person. And the changes that happened to her were, in any case, positive. However, I am an Uchiha to the core in any world. And we, as you know, are terrible possessives. The sun was slowly setting towards the horizon. The distinguished guests were gradually gathering in the main house of the Uzumaki clan. The heirs of the Scarlet Demons were celebrating their 7th birthday. All the respected clans of Konoha with their heirs and representatives were invited. The official ceremony had already taken place, which meant that the children had gathered in a large company in a separate room. Along with them were also trusted persons from Anbu, but now their faces were not hidden under masks, so Uchiha Shisui along with his partners, Uchiha Itachi and Uzumaki Shori, were telling tales and just funny stories from their work. Oh, guys, you just have no idea how many times Shori-chan has rejected me. Shisui threw his hands up dramatically. Well, Shisui-san, you still have every chance until Shori-san finds herself a boyfriend. Ino casually shrugged her shoulders and looked at Shikamaru with a slight reproach, her eyes shining with mischief, unlike one impudent and self-confident young man. Oya oyya, Ino-chan, you hurt me right in the heart, how can I live after this? Oh, no one needs me, even the lady of my heart has abandoned me. The brunette in a playful fit grabbed his heart with his hand and slightly fell on his back, but unable to keep his balance, the boy, waving his arms, fell to the floor. They were sitting on soft pillows in a strange semicircle. Sonara was now lying in a star pose, which made it even funnier. Ha, a lover boy, the heart is on the other side. Shika didn't respond to the slightly ironic remark of the hero of the occasion. You can't count a moo as an answer, but Hinata inserted a barb. Oh, who's talking? You have such a harem yourself, and you can't even choose properly. Only the girl herself didn't know about Itachi's strange feelings for one scarlet-haired demoness. Envy silently. Hina, envy silently. Uzumaki did not remain in debt. Still, due to the transience of life, shinobi do not consider early attraction to the opposite sex to be something strange. You need to do everything quickly, while you are still alive. And besides, such children grow up very quickly. And then there is martial law. So 7 years is the most favorable age for engagement, even if I think otherwise. Okay, don't rub salt in the wound, kids. I suggest we play something. The Anbu captain's idea appealed to the boys. And so, almost 20 minutes have passed since the game began. It looks like a regular hide-and-seek, but with its own tricks. There are 2 teams. Some are searching, and others are hiding. The task of the seekers is to find and stain the enemy, and those must catch someone from the other group. The heirs, joking happily, were looking for their comrades. Immediately after one of the seekers crossed the invisible line, the plan of the hidden ones slowly began to be implemented. Weak seals exploded everywhere, Kurama's material illusions confused and led to a false trail. Yamanaka scanned the area, but in contrast to her, the main deer of the younger generation was making up the tactics, which meant that everything was under control. Bizarre shadows frightened and sometimes pulled their legs. Who knew that all the training would be useful to them in the game? But, one could say that they were learning the practical use of their abilities. Which is a plus. Itachi sat in a tree in the shade, hidden from prying eyes by Genjutsu. All his thoughts were occupied by one Hime-sama of the allied clan. The girl was jumping from place to place, she and Sasuke seemed to understand each other without words, and he covered her when it was necessary. Naruto's facial expressions were touching. A sharp surge of strength was felt next to her. When the little girl, in a surge of gratitude, impulsively hugged his younger brother, Itachi thought about the demon sitting in the fragile girl's body. He was not in love, he could not be interested in such a little girl, even if those around him thought otherwise. It was not in his interests to convince anyone, so Itachi's tactics remained unchanged, he knew how to wait like no one else. It was probably the best birthday I've ever had. Damn, it was so awesome that it was worth taking on the responsibility of helping myself in another world just for that, really. First, of course, the official part, which shook the soul out of me, because, you are the future head, you are responsible. I had to respond to all the bows and scrapes with a polite half-smile, and this traitor, that is, Menma, with a stony expression, like a guard, stood behind me and nodded occasionally. Afterwards we listened to stories of Shisui-san, who turned out to be a truly defective Uchiha, which didn't make him any worse. Then, it got even better. We played hide and seek. Yes, Jubi take you, hide and seek. But not simple hide and seek, no. Using FUNN was so easy and effortless, like breathing. And the connection with Uchiha was beyond praise. Even after so many obstacles, we hadn't achieved such mutual understanding and I couldn't help but hug him. Kami, I, myself, voluntarily, hugged Uchiha. Where is the world heading? But that's not the worst thing, the worst thing is that I liked it. Yes, fucking, I liked it. No, Kurama, you can't change the host. Don't even try. Only the burning gaze, during this action, is not very good. Of course, it did not have any negative connotation, but it was still unpleasant. Itachi was also acting strangely. Constantly rushing back and forth, checking something, even scanning with the Sharingan, if it wasn't my imagination, of course. Maybe he's sick. And when I touched his forehead, he recoiled in horror. Stop. Or maybe he's wildly furious and angry. Exactly. Itachi hates me. Hey, Ku, why are you laughing? What did I say that was so funny? 10 minutes later. Yeah, maybe that's enough already. I'm going to get offended. Kurama, looks like we've lost you. An hour later. Kurama, the invasion of the pink Uchiha has begun. No, it didn't affect me. Another 30 minutes later. Matabi in a thong. Ooh, I understand everything about you, pervert. Now I understand your fantasies. Okay, don't get mad, I won't burn you. Probably. Officially, this day can be considered over. Thank you all, goodbye. Comment to special. Birthday. I'm back. P.B. Bekino. Chapter 16. Date. Today is a nice sunny day. The sky is green, the grass is blue, the birds are barking, the dogs are chirping. Beautiful. And I'm sitting on a date with Uchiha Itachi. Yeah, right. And most importantly, we're sitting in a dango cafe, which, of course, belongs to the Uchiha clan. Oh, those looks. Every fucking person was simply obliged to smile sweetly looking at us. But now I know for sure that Itachi doesn't hate me. Although, maybe this is a bet. Damn it, Kurama, shut up. I couldn't refuse it because of nasty etiquette. This Sharingan raven caught me leaving the clan quarter with the head and Menma. So, refusal would sound like a dismissive slap in the face of the Uchiha. Well, at least you can eat dango for free. That's already a plus. Naruto Hime, I heard that you are making great progress in Fuinjutsu, Itachi asked after a short silence. The teachers praise me, but my uncle is not happy. I pick up the Senbon with dango with a sweet smile. It's still a good thing, and I continue speaking, however, my control is weak. Well, everything can be fixed. The brunette exuded some strange peace, the dark pools instead of eyes shone with some kind of puppy-like happiness, as if he was looking at a stray cat. Yes, the main thing is not to fall asleep during meditation, I shake my head, echoing the words. It seemed to me that the Uzumaki, on the contrary, are very, unrestrained. He certainly pointed out the all in a piquant place, but yes, it is not appropriate for Haim to know such plebeian words. In general, yes, but I didn't have time to finish, because I was interrupted by the younger Uchiha. Hello, brother, I was looking for you, Naruto Haim, nice to meet you. Sasuke waved his hand and sat down next to Itachi. We both nodded in response. Grabbing his brother's food, Sasuke, not feeling any discomfort, continued, Shisui-san asked me to tell you that he's waiting for you at your training ground, Itachi. He said something about a mission. But I can't leave Naruto Haim now. Leave, come on, I know what you want. It's urgent, and besides, I can keep my fiancé company myself, so, stop, are they dividing me up now? The elder could not stand the younger's gaze and, having said a crumpled goodbye, left. Well, Naruto Haim, I know that you are not a fan of long and boring conversations, so maybe we should have a sparring match. A good idea, after all, physical fitness needs to be improved. Otherwise, this body will be completely weak. I agreed. When we finished eating, Uchiha, like a gallant gentleman, paid for me, and we headed to the very training ground where we met the brothers for the first time. Well, let's get started. I abruptly take off from the ground, increasing the distance between us. Now I am a fighter of medium and long range. I throw a smoke bomb and create clones, the main thing is to distract attention. Having suppressed the chakra as much as possible, I burn a seal on the ground, but only one. There is not enough time, I will have to sacrifice quality due to the lack of time, so the paper seals fan out across the ground. Sasuke does not waste time, so he has already managed to destroy all the copies. Sensorics help a lot, but the boy is not simple and deftly bypasses all the seals. I accept the fight. Kunai creak against each other, a sweep, a blow to the head, reflected, a rebound, another feint and bingo. Cats. I shout and activate the main seal, the trap is triggered. But Uchiha seemed not to notice the paralyzing C-class FUNN, on which I spent a lot of effort. The last chance was paper seals. The ligature of Fuinjutsu outlined a path towards the Avenger. As soon as he stepped on the ground, his chakra was scanned. Distracted by setting up the seals, I did not notice how the brunette had already caught up with me. The boy's body was pierced by electricity from the FUNN blocks, before falling from an unthinkable amount of bolts acceptable for life. Sasuke, clearly concentrating his chakra in his fist, hit me. We lie down and fart. Ah, the Honorable Haim do not express themselves like that, Naruto Haim-san. To hell with you, damn Yume-sensei, with your etiquette you have completely shattered my mind. Now I have two crazy people, an old nine-tailed one, and a new wrinkled fossil. Naruto Haim-chan, Sasuke, are you alive or are you pretending? Who disturbed my peace? Shisui-san, Itachi, I forgot to order places in the cemetery, but I wrote a will. I don't know about Naruto Haim. Wow, I really respect the Sasuke of this world. Yukane's pants, Yuchiro's hair ties, Menma can wear the clothes, I'll give all the dresses and kimonos to Yasu and Kohiri, the money to my little ones from the clan for experiments. What else do I have? Well, there's also Ku, but I'd better take him with me. Here, I have witnesses. The will is ready, now the main thing is to make a serious face. We'll take care of this, okay Itachi. Shisui honestly tried not to laugh at his brother, but honestly, Itachi's face at that moment was simply something to behold. His right eyebrow and left eye were doing a jig-jig, a smile like people had after the evil Yamanaka Inoichi, that is, a vegetable smile, and a fishy look. Itachi-san, this is just a joke, you understand. Oh, it seems like he's alive. Oh, yeah, sorry. Well, since we're here, maybe we could train you in something. Well, as they say, if they hit you, run, if they give you, take it, so, my rabbit brothers, you won't leave me alone. First, close combat, then sensorics, and also kenjutsu with control, and all sorts of cool anbu stuff. Lying in bed, I think that there is something fishy about this story. It can't be that in a clan full of paranoids, they didn't keep an eye on one child. Moreover, the child, even if untalented, although this is highly questionable, is very important. We need to find out at what time the seals were placed. All at the same time, in the period from 2 to 3 years, at this time the chakra of the nine-tailed goes to nourish the body and does not burn out the seals. As in your world, it is dangerous to put bookmarks at such a tender age, but either feeble-mindedness and courage are involved here, or a master of his craft acted. So we need to look for those who were able to put such bookmarks and not get caught. We need to involve the children from the quarter, but only trusted ones. Maybe this is some kind of conspiracy, because Akatsuki will not be here. I found out that Rin married Obito and is now 6 months pregnant. And Nagato simply does not know Yahiko and Konan, since he lives in Uzushio with his relatives. At the moment, he is an SS class Junin, thanks to the Rinnegan. That's what blood means. Without questions or anything else, barriers let me into any place. In addition, the circle of people I need is becoming much smaller, which means I know what we will do tomorrow. And Kami forbid anyone from stopping me. Commentary on Chapter 16. Date. I promised to post a chapter within a week, but it's stretched out to almost 2, yes. Plus the size is small, but it seems to me that a plot is emerging. No, it's fantasy, or is it? P.B. Bekino. Chapter 17. Investigation and Possible Journey. As for me, the morning doesn't have to start with coffee. But, damn it, please tell me where it was written that the morning starts with meditation on the Hokage rock at 4 fucking morning. And the smart guys and girls who decided that since they don't like it, they don't have to come so early, or at all, are eaten by my tame furry animal, which will make a nice sheepskin coat or carpet. On the wall. To keep you warm on winter nights. But let's not talk about the good stuff. After all, I'm a shinobi, and we're a tough bunch. It's more important to think about the investigation. I need to find out if any of the Junin or clan masters went missing around 3 or 4 years ago, and who sealed Kurama on my birthday. However, the Anbu of Maelstrom should not be discounted. It would be easier for them to pull off an adventure of such a scale, and there are many people there who are capable of something like that. The problem is that the Anbu files are stored directly in Uzushio, which means that you will need to get to your so-called homeland and historical land, but there is an archive on the clan's territory as well. You need to check it for anything interesting. Well, that's an idea. I'll justify myself by saying that I intrigued myself and decided to look at the S-class FUNN, and then go to Uzushio for reconnaissance. After all, Menma and I are the future head and advisor, so it's logical that we'd want to visit the clan's domain and learn something new. Tring tring. Oh, alarm clock, it's already 7:45. We have to go back. After that incident with the return of the prodigal daughter, the first thing I did was ask Usama to teach me how to break barriers, and after Uncle showed me the basics, I immediately began to probe our home for breaches. In fact, I won't be able to hack it completely soon, but I was able to register myself in the structure, and now the barrier does not react to my movements. That is, the alarm does not work. In general, it scans the presence and state of people inside, and works when mom is awake. That is, the information does not come to her when she is sleeping. Yes, it sounds like nonsense and complete absurdity, and the functionality is so-so, but it is well made. As they explained to me later, this is Kushina's very first development in this direction, so it has many shortcomings, but they build it, so to speak, conscientiously, and then I have to suffer, hacking it. Ah, the fate of a rebel is hard. At the appointed time, Menma entered the room at the same time as me. We stood rooted to the spot, facing each other. Somewhere on the periphery of my consciousness, the thought that I had taken off most of my clothes as I walked faintly rang out. Hey, well, I see you're up, I'm off, thank you, enjoy your steam. Blushing and tongue-tied, the twin staggered towards the exit. His gaze smoothly dropped down. A treacherous grin spread across his face. Ah, little brother Menma, didn't you like it? Oh, your little sister is so upset. Ah, the colors drained from the future advisor's face. With a jerky movement, the boy turned his head in my direction. I was already ready, sitting on my knees, holding my body with my hands so that a weak strip was formed between my breasts. My protruding butt, falling clothes, hastily pulled over my body, and an innocent look did their job. First an eyebrow twitched, then an eye, and then the poor child, whose psyche I was shamelessly playing with, let out an incomprehensible scream moan, more like a cry from the soul, and left the room, and so quickly that not even the slightest trace of his presence remained. This is what it means to be a genius. But okay, time to call it a day. Having finished all the procedures, I went down to the family. Everyone was gathered. My cheerfully chirping mother, also chirping Yuichiro, Yukine, clearly imagining his blood enemy in the place of the poor omelet, Minato, who can cool the lava, and Menma, half lying on the table, who apparently gave up the ghost. By the way, we don't sit next to each other anymore. It wasn't hard to ask for time off to go to the quarter. After all, I'm a frequent guest there. Sometimes I didn't even come home because Yuji-sama was trying to cram the uncrammable, and all I could do was reap the fruits of his pedagogical genius. Relatives greeted me with the usual noise and colorful flowers constantly flickering before my eyes. Despite the fact that today is supposedly a school day, no one will say a word, and all because my clone is currently at the academy. And what's so special about that? The fact is that you can't send a simple clone to this academy. For the especially gifted, there is a special barrier around the perimeter of the academy, leveling the chakra in any clones, be they elemental or shadow. The secret is extremely simple. As everywhere, the main key to the greatness of my clan is blood. So here, too, an ordinary clone does not imply blood. It consists entirely of chakra, and when attacked, it is destroyed if the chakra invested in it is not enough to survive. But, let's return to my masterpiece and truly successful development. You could say that with the seals, I mix chakra with blood, and then I get a very uneven semblance of a shinobi. So the question arises, why not just give the clone a vial of blood? Because the clone and the blood will be considered separate objects, the clone will dissipate, and the blood will remain. In addition, thanks to the seals, the clone's density increased several times. It was only necessary to close the clone's kirakuki so that it reproduced chakra from the environment, since, separating from me, the clone loses connection with my hearth. In fact, it turns out to be a real copy, capable of passing birth barriers, since the most important components, namely chakra and blood, are present. Oh, I got too carried away, but I reached the area where the clan kids usually gather. The main ringleaders weren't there yet. Well, I need to wait for them, because they will be the key players in my scheme. 10 minutes later, our heroes arrived. As always, Akio was proving something to Yasu, and his brother was following them, his nose buried in a scroll. Kohiri wasn't with them. Strange, she must have been wasting paper all night again. Now that's what I call a dedicated person. Noticing me, the three ran towards our favorite tree. Haim-chan, long time no see. I'm trying to prove to Yasu that it's impossible to activate an explosive seal with chakra threads, but she won't listen to me. Akio comically waved his arms in a fit of indignation. Actually, you can. Yasu is right, but that's not the point now. I have an interesting task for you. Putting my hands behind my back, I started walking back and forth with the gait of a general to make my words more convincing. For this we will need strength, courage, knowledge and chakra. Can you handle it? Yes, to dare small children. I'm not ashamed. No, Kurama, I just know that you ate my conscience back when I was in my mother's womb. Yes, of course. Don't doubt us, Haim-sama. It will be done in the best possible way. Ah, I love this trait in Aki. When he takes on the role of a leader, no one can contradict him. Great. Then, listen to the plan. Kami, these kids have gone completely crazy. Honestly, every day is a test. Where are they? Another patrolman tore himself away from his workstation and headed towards my saboteurs. Now they were leaving traps in precisely determined places. My plan was risky and reckless, but it was very important for me to find out what exactly happened to Naruto. As soon as Ryuko left her post, I rushed to the vault door and hid in the shadows, activating one of Kohiri's favorite seals. How the Nara didn't kill us for such a blatant violation of copyright is unclear. But now is not the time to indulge in speculation, now is the time to unlock the door. The special glasses that helped to see the FUNN ligature seemed unable to convey the entire number of runes at the entrance. From such an abundance of red, my eyes began to dazzle, but after several successful weaves, most of it disappeared, recognizing me as the heir. My heart was beating like an alarm in my head. I tried to breathe as quietly as possible and stop moving as much as possible. Tension gripped my entire body. I managed to slow down the speed of the head's notification that I was in the storage. There were about 10 minutes left for the entire operation. Of these, 5 minutes to find the right rack in the statements. Without wasting any time, I ran up to the patrolman's desk as quietly as possible. Well, information about the sealing squad of Uzushio's Anbu as of now, no. Bingo. Sealing of the Biju. That's what we need, so next. The list of missing persons, that's also needed. Tisk. They've started something again. The voice was getting closer, which meant they had to get out. Room C, row 6 and 24. It's on the right, I think. As soon as I disappeared into the shadows, the figure of the local archivist appeared from the door. Phew, I made it. In reality, the archive is much larger, no one really knows how big it is. And this isn't the main branch. The Uzushio archive takes up an entire island. I'm lucky that the event I need is important enough to be close by, and the missing list isn't particularly large, so it's also nearby, but on the other side of the room. Room C, like all the others, was dark and smelled damp. Each scroll was beautifully numbered and held incredible power. The information in these papers could instantly change the structure of the world, or even start the Fourth World War. Do I feel awe? Of course. Do I understand the consequences? Absolutely. But I have to know who wanted to kill little Naruto, which of the Uzumaki wanted to release Kurama and destroy the leaf. Kami, calm down already, hysterical woman, the clock is ticking, and you still need to get out of here before your uncle shows up and gives you a beating, so get your legs in your hands and start looking. The voice of personal schizophrenia sobered me up a bit. Really, I need to hurry. It was nice to use clones, at least something familiar in this scary and incomprehensible world. The double came out of the cloud of smoke and began to look through the records. Well, let's begin. Birth, seal crack, Uzushio's Anbu squad, put it aside, sealing squad, 2, chief master, that's right. The clone handed over the list from the back row. The set is complete. There is one special Anbu technique that allows copying text, because on missions there is not enough time to create a copy or rewrite data, so some lazy genius who wished to remain incognito, although everyone knows that it was some Nara, came up with this incredible technique. The clone finished her work and disappeared. What? Violators? Where? No one passed me by. Yeah, let's see. Damn, I need to run, and fast. Having sealed the resulting copies, I climbed up the wall to the window and climbed out. I needed to run to the shift location. In the shade of the trees near the academy stood my clone, already pretty battered by Iruka-sensei's sadistic exercises. I came out from the bushes to the training ground. Having run into Uchiha's suspicious gaze, and having made innocent eyes, I went to Ino and Hinata. I wanted to look through the papers faster, but if I gave myself away ahead of time, then everything would go under the tails of Jubi. Are you okay? You don't look so good. No, Ino, I feel good now. Time flew by. Paranoia made itself known approximately every 5 minutes. From the colossal expenditure of chakra by the end of the day I was falling off my feet. The thing is, in case they start to examine me, and my uncle couldn't help but notice my presence, I shouldn't have any documents with me. All the scrolls and, so to speak, copies of copies, were hidden in different hiding places. The excuse, I was interested in the kanji used to protect the building, won't work if something disappears from the archives. My uncle will ask why I didn't ask the adults to show me around then, and there is an incredibly childish answer to that. I thought you wouldn't let me. And that's all. Uzumaki children are incredibly active and energetic, their thoughts jump from one thing to another, problems with concentration are obvious. Besides, I still have my reputation as a quiet, antisocial mouse, so everything is great. Now, just lying on the bed, I know that I am being watched. Not as a criminal, by no means, they are simply afraid that I found out that I am a Jinchuriki, and are waiting for a reaction. Wait gentlemen, I'm just a little girl. Commentary on Chapter 17, Investigation and Possible Journey. Well, I did everything I could. Slippers to the studio. Please, just don't hit too hard. P.B. It's been covered as best as my mind could handle. 0. Chapter 18. There will be an adventure. What can I say? The anticipation is worse than death. Right now I have no idea how badly and where exactly I screwed up, and whether they will consider me a spy or even Kurama, who took over the body. In the world of shinobi, there are many truly terrifying techniques, and who, if not Uzumaki, would know about it? Even if someone suspected me of treason or Kami of who knows what, then after all the fun in the Temple of Masks there could be no suspicion, and regular checkups with doctors with 100% certainty declare that I am Naruto Uzumaki and no one else. However, paranoia is something that almost all high-ranking officials are famous for. It is better to be safe than sorry, especially when it comes to Jinchuriki. Since the moment I returned from the academy, the Anbu gentlemen have not left their positions for a minute. Now they are listening to my core and chakra background as much as possible. It is impossible to show that even the slightest part of Kuzville can reach me. The constant surveillance, of course, tickled my nerves, but it did not prevent me from calmly going about my business. Just in case, Kurama is silent, you never know how cool the censors in this world are. Again, we won't risk it. Although, my brainless joke about Yui backfired on me. A more or less thinking person would immediately build 2 scenarios. The first is that the nine-tailed has access to the body of its jailer, the second is that the object of observation has long since realized its status as a living bomb. As a result of many internal disputes, Ku and I decided that the best option would be to calmly admit and play on the child's spontaneity. Yes, of course I know that someone is sealed inside me, the huge thing on my stomach raised questions, or, I thought everyone had one. Seriously, the second option could only work if I was 4 years old maximum, but it doesn't work like that. Closer to evening, when only one person remained from the entire squad of young men hiding somewhere in the trees, Kushina, to my surprise, entered the room. Naru, my sunshine, I brought you some fruit. She, as always, stood in her favorite yellow apron, and in her hands she held a plate with apples. At my gratitude, Mom only smiled, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and sat down next to me on the bed. Oh, I remember that textbook. When I was still studying at the academy, its author was our teacher. To be honest, we all didn't like him, because he spoke like a 100-year-old man, and he grumbled just as much. I understand, there probably isn't a more boring textbook. Your dad often held me back so that I wouldn't pounce on him out of anger with all my complaints. At some point, we started calling Sensei Rotten Raisin, to somehow vent our anger. Bloody Habanero only laughed at my cynical and skeptical expression. So that you understand, we called him by his nickname so often that it became more boring than his real name, so at the exam I accidentally addressed him by this name. Oh, what a scream there was, ha ha, you should have seen it. With one story she was able to relieve even the previously unfelt tension, weaving a thin web around the room. Even breathing became somehow easier. The mood to dodge has disappeared, I even feel a little ashamed. Mom is trying so hard to do everything softly, considering that she is dealing with her little daughter. Playing the fool is not at all convenient. Mom, did you want to ask something? Kushina twitched slightly, barely noticeable, but still noticeable. She was still hesitating. Darling, how have you been feeling lately? Is everything okay? We're all worried, my heart ached. I'm sure that Minato, or even my uncle, should be talking to me now, but they don't want to suspect me of anything until the very end. You know, I like everything, I'm gradually becoming stronger, I have many good friends and comrades, even FUNN is moving forward from a dead place. The teachers at the academy are quite eccentric, the guys and I also organized sabotage in the archive, oh, and some of the guys from the class amuse me, they are in the CE. I didn't even have time to rattle off this short educational program about my daily life, when Kushina exclaimed in surprise. Stop, repeat again what you said at the end, oh, now it's my favorite. Do some of the kids in my class amuse me? No, before that. Are there some rather eccentric teachers at the academy? No, after, Dadbana. We organized sabotage. At this my dear mother's eyes lit up, and she nodded very intensely. She apparently liked the phrase, organized sabotage. Kushina straightened up, waiting for the continuation of my incredible story. Under the drawn-out, full AA, from Kurama, which began to make noise somewhere at the bottom of the subconscious, all logical and pre-prepared phrases flew out of my head. Happy improvisation day. Well, we thought it would be fun. The kids begged me to come up with some cool task, since I was the only Uzumaki who entered the academy and at the same time messed around with children, unlike the other clan members. So, well, I thought that we could try to get into the archives in such a way as to remain unnoticed for as long as possible. Why the archives in particular? One of the boys' brother works there as a supervisor, so we found out the guard change schedule, and then it was just a matter of FUNN. Phew, I've said it all, such a long monologue made my throat feel dry. Now, the main thing is that all of this is transferred to children's pranks. I can't wait for the training they'll provide me with later, so that I don't waste time on fooling around and won't have any more time for children's pranks. Goodbye, my favorite get-togethers in cafes, I'll miss you. Meanwhile, Kushina thought everything over, rethought it, and, obviously, passed a sentence, and this sentence was very pleasant for your humble servant. She laughed. And she laughed heartily, with feeling, sense and arrangement. She laughed for so long that I felt awkward. Oh, haha, Kami, I'm so sorry, Naru-chan, oh, that's it, thank you so much for sharing. Don't worry, I'll explain everything to everyone. Just don't have fun like that anymore. She stood up, patted me on the head, went to the door and, standing in the doorway, said, well, or just don't get caught. Make sure to finish your homework and go to bed on time. I listened to the first floor for a while, but unfortunately I didn't hear anything. About 7 minutes after Mom left, the last poor Anbu left his post. Overall, it seemed to go well. So, I said, well, so everything is just great, oh, that's it, leave me alone. After the conversation with Kushina, a surprisingly quiet week passed. There was no reaction at all. None. Everything went as usual, No one from the top of the clan even mentioned the incident in passing, so I walked around nervous all week. Even Menma noticed that I was somehow overly nervous and didn't think that you could be even more inadequate. In general, he supported me as best he could. However, as soon as I relaxed, the answer to all my torment came. At the end of another hellish calligraphy lesson, Uncle raised a fateful topic. Now that you've marinated in your own juices enough, I want to discuss something. You put down the long parchment with the diagram of the protective barrier and stood by the window. His massive figure covered one of the main sources of light in the room. A pleasant twilight reigned. I tore myself away from the parchment with excited anticipation and ran into a sly look. I'm listening to you attentively, Uncle. The head smiled softly and folded his arms across his chest. Long pauses are his favorite technique. The longer the pauses between phrases, the more your opponent will tell you. Few people like awkward silence. Of course, not counting my highly respected relative. Kushina told me about your prank. I thought for a long time about what you were missing during our training. Since you had enough time for such stupidity, my polite smile became strained too quickly, after this phrase, which stung more than I expected, so I decided to arrange a training camp for you and Menma in Uzushio. You will spend a month there, look at your historical homeland. Moreover, I spend too much time here and not at my workplace. It was hard to contain the glee in my eyes. Everything was turning out exactly as I wanted. It will be possible to conduct another stupid investigation, and I have less than 2 months to prepare. Most likely, the trip is planned for the winter holidays, although they only last a week, which means that then I will have to catch up on the program, but it's okay, we've never gotten out of this. Uncle was already beginning to suspect something, judging by my face, which showed a riot of emotions in a minute, so I hurried to answer. I apologize for, well, this whole situation, but Menma and I are really looking forward to visiting Uzushio. I didn't like my uncle's grin, shining with anticipation. Doubts crept into my soul. Who said I'd ever have the chance to explore the island alone? Menma burst into the room, of course, after knocking, when I was sprawled out on the bed, reading another memoir of some ancient explorer. Yes, this is actually interesting. Shinobi techniques were completely different, as was everything else. I don't care that this pathetic little man was actually vain and stupid, and that you ate him without any problems or remorse. However, returning to Menma, he had been pacing around for a minute, wringing his hands and collecting his thoughts. It seemed that the news of our future journey had already reached him. Well, the twin jerked, breaking out of his thoughts and looked at me in amazement. I calmly took out the bookmark, a gift, surprisingly, from Yukine. He noticed that instead of bookmarks, I use literally anything that comes to hand, most often toffee wrappers, and one evening he simply thrust a wide braided ribbon in the colors of the Namikaze clan into my hand. Carefully closing the book and with a quiet sigh, straightening up on the same bed, I looked at my brother. Finally collecting his thoughts, he asked, "You already know about Uzushio, right?" Seeing my affirmative nod, Menma continued. We're not there forever, are we? They don't send us away, are they? I mean, we haven't, Saint stumbled anywhere, have we? With each of his questions, my eyes widened in surprise. What had he already managed to come up with? Of course, Menma had some problems with self-esteem. The boy stifled himself with inflated expectations and demands, trying to be like his older brothers and constantly confirm the title of genius in the eyes of others. Menma is also too attached to his father, in particular, to the opinion of his father, whom he considers an infallible authority. Any offense causes wild stress in him. I will no longer be an ideal son, I will be abandoned, I am not worthy of love. And additional confirmation of all these thoughts was Minato's attitude to Naruto, which was far from the version of an infallible child. Was I really so busy with my personal drama that I missed such instability of my own twin? The boy, at 7 years old, already needs psychotherapy. Well, wait a second, you went too far. You haven't done anything wrong, everything is fine. It's more like I'm being punished here, and what kind of punishment is this? Just a training trip. Menma slowly began to calm down, at least he left his long-suffering fingers alone and stopped breathing so hard. Everything is fine, we'll be there for a month at most, and what difference does it make? After all, don't forget that you're an advisor, so even in the future you'll mostly stay in Konoha. I don't know what exactly from my tirade calmed him down, but in any case, it worked. I calmly returned to reading, noticing that Menma was already able to think rationally, which meant that he would soon understand that he had revealed his emotions not to just anyone, but to me, would become embarrassed and run away. Thanks. As predicted, a dull slam of the door and a quick stomp. I couldn't wipe the stupid smile off my face for the rest of the evening. It's nice when your cold brother comes to you with his worries. Hit, roll to the left, roll again, stamp and boom. The shock wave threw back not only me, but also the log, which, in fact, needed to be protected. What are you doing, huh? Toshi, who was still my teacher, abruptly pulled me by the scruff of the neck and pulled me out of the pieces of all sorts of garbage that had appeared as a result of my latest experiment. We were still studying at that same long-suffering training ground with the tree that produced chakra. It was terribly stuffy, despite November, and, in general, unpleasant weather, including cold winds and, periodically, a fine unpleasant rain. I'll go gray before you learn how to correctly place vectors, what's the matter? The teacher puffed aggressively, slapping the dust off me. Oh, come on, sensei, there's too little faith in your best and most beloved student. Judging by Tashi's face, the puppy eyes didn't work on him, which means there will be penalty push-ups. Oh, my lot is hard. No one understands me. A soft wave of a thin smile passed through our mysterious connection with Uchiha. Oh yeah, how could I forget? There's poor Sasuke Uchiha, who's never given a break. A soft blow from the edge of the palm landed on the head. Don't get distracted. Yes, Toshi-sensei, I'm starting. The beginning, as always, was simple, but on the 60th push-up I decided to try my luck and ask the mentor about our lovely island state. There's a question that's ripe. The teacher looked boredly at my face, reddened from the effort. Why are there so many Anbu of Maelstrom in Konoha? I paused, trying to catch my breath. I mean, I know that these are troubled times, and Leaf and Maelstrom are the closest allies, but services like Anbu. I see where you're going with this. Those Uzushio Anbu you see here are a special unit with limited functionality and access. Seeing that I had stopped, this sadist waved his hand, ordering me to continue. You didn't notice them before because they weren't here. Yu-sama is currently dealing with your father, the elders, and the clan heads, so his unit is with him. It's clear that the Anbu guys are just sitting with Uncle. They are his personal guard. Does this mean that they could have been there when Menma and I were born? After all, they were the closest guards. What happened then? There is very little information, and there are also unaccounted factors. This is already starting to irritate me. Well, since there are no more questions, let's start over, otherwise you get distracted too often. With a sad cry, I relaxed my arms and fell onto the disgustingly warm ground. Kami, give me the strength to sort all this out and not die of fatigue. Commentary on Chapter 18. An adventure is to come. In short, I reread this work many times, each time I started writing something, then gave up again and so on in a circle. I don't know what you found in this cringe, because I wrote it when I was young and stupid, but it's not for me to judge. Here's a chapter that I kept in drafts for a very long time. If the me who just started writing this FIC saw it now, she would be delighted with how many people liked it. Thanks everyone. The current me is also shocked by everything, and especially by the number of plot and logical holes and mistakes that are hard to fix. I love and kiss everyone.